Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon, the last episode of Infinite Horizon for the year. I had the revelation, which is maybe not a revelation to anybody else, but that after this episode, um, Infinite Horizon will no longer be exclusive to the year 2020. So that's going to be a weird thing to go into the new year thinking about.
Mm.
Feels like this show has been around my whole life. Uh, um,
Does that mean we get more XP?
Yeah, that's true. It's
no,
been. Well, you
Damn.
sure?
Had to try.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm reasonably certain that it doesn't mean that.
Damn.
Did we do XP at the end of last session?
We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything.
Oh,
It's
shit.
been- like I said, it's been 3 months since the last episode of Infinite Horizon.
Yeah, it's been years.
Somehow.
All right. Well,
But before you can carry on, Geekus has a point. You look very good in glasses.
thank you. I finally got my blue light filter glasses that I ordered forever ago, and I have no idea if they're helping, but they're here. We'll see. We'll see if they do anything. It seems like the kind of thing that's like the long-term benefits, rather than the immediate short-term.
They've helped me
Yeah.
get less headaches in general, so hopefully
That's
they'll
cool.
work
I've
for
actually
you.
had more headaches since I got them, but
Oh,
that's,
no.
it could be entirely unrelated.
Huh.
So, anyway, before we get started tonight, we have a few announcements as per usual, most of which have to do with our schedule. But I'll just do a quick little update about In Too Deep. So two things we have about announcements about In Too Deep, and you'll see these things being announced as they become relevant as well. But for now, I figured I'd give you the advanced warning. So first of all, In Too Deep will be on YouTube. Both the prologues will be on YouTube before the premiere in January. We still don't have an exact date for that, but that will be happening very soon. Just keep an eye out on socials and stuff like that, and we will. Damn it, geekouts. We will. You'll know as soon as they're out. The other thing about In Too Deep is that we are going to be, for the actual campaign, where the start time is going to be pushed back another half hour. So it will actually, instead of being 3:30 Pacific time, it will be starting at 4:00 p.m. Pacific time. So just to give everybody a little bit of extra time to get to streaming positions before the show starts. So we're going to be pushing that back when the actual campaign starts. So you can theoretically expect fewer delays because the delay is just the norm now. That's how that works. So you can't have a late start time if you just change the start time. So those are the announcements as far as In Too Deep goes. Actually, I have a third one, which is that it's great and y'all should watch it because that cast is incredible.
Yeah.
All right. As for our schedule, this winter, this is actually our last week before going dark for a couple of weeks. So our last.
Oh man, that's
I
gonna
know.
feel like 2 months.
It's gonna feel.
Ooh.
This
Yeah,
one
it
week
really
felt
will.
like that much.
Fair.
Can't even imagine what the next two are gonna
Yeah.
feel like. So, yeah, but we will be, or 3. I don't know how many weeks it is.
Time.
Like a pie. I'm gonna keep bringing that.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep running that joke into the ground until it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you keep repeating it after that, and it becomes funny again. Like that's
exactly.
Mhm.
That's how it works.
So Ramblemancy this week will actually be our last broadcast of the year until January. So speaking of, we'll be back on with Infinite Horizon on Wednesday, January 6th. Speaking of Ramblemancy, this week's episode of Ramblemancy is just going to be kind of a chill holiday hangout, similar to what we did for Halloween. It's not going to be particularly directed. We're just going to be talking about holiday stuff and our favorite holiday memories and just hanging out, drinking some hot cocoa and whatever else may be at hand. Sorry, I'm just remembering
This is true.
having a moment from. Never mind, it's not important. So those are kind of our big announcements for right now. It's kind of the end of the year, so we don't have too much happening right now. This is our last week of the year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh man, anybody have anything that any thoughts before we get started tonight?
Remnants of my light blowout at the end of us last episode seem to be haunting me again, so
Yeah.
sorry about that.
It's very sad. Caitlin spent so much time getting her lights set up just right, and they looked pretty good. And then the light flared on just like it did last time and messed up everything. So. All right. Well,
frantically scramble it during the title sequence and see what I can do.
Yeah.
Wait, before we get started, I
Mhm.
just want to say, although this year has been insane in many ways, Infinite Horizon has been a really fun, great place. So it's been a fun year for Infinite Horizon.
Yeah. I
Thanks for
agree.
tuning in. Thanks for playing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been really special.
Yeah.
Thanks all of you for being awesome. It's been
Yeah.
so much fun watching you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for being awesome as well, Drac.
Thanks for coming and playing with us for permanence, for keeps.
Hee hee, we have
You're stuck
Drac
with me
now.
You think you have me? You're the one that's stuck with me.
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in
You're
here
trapped
with me.
in here with me.
There it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I think we will begin tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon.
Some will say this is the end. We're surrounded, but we won't give in. No. Who will save us? Who will save us? Sometimes you gotta let go. Leave it up to the hero. Who will save us? Who will save us? When the truth's in the shadows, all hail to the heroes. They're gonna save us. Yeah, save us. Yeah, save us today.
And we're back. Minus a couple of people. Caitlin's messing with her lights, and Freeman is right here. He was never gone. Freeman is right here. Pay no attention.
Cast!
Pay no attention to the sudden scramble. Freeman was here the whole time.
Scramble
Exactly.
Mancy, you might even say.
Scramble.
You were
Just-
joined for a
just-
brief moment by Chair.
There's a chair stream.
Yeah. Once again.
That's what the people
Chair.
are really here for.
Mm-hmm. Chair stealing the show. Well, since Geekout says never didn't have it. In this case, it being Freeman, never didn't have Freeman. All right. Well, when we last left off on Infinite Horizon, yes, Caitlin.
Sorry, I just ran very fast. It wasn't fast enough.
I love that. Little known fact: we play musical chairs by ourselves in our own homes every time the intro plays.
No, we have to scramble to each other's chairs really
Yeah.
quick and try to get back to
Yeah.
our own
Yeah,
before.
I got on a flight to fly over. It
Yeah.
was wild.
yeah.
Same time as a pie.
All right.
Full
Well,
circle.
just like a pie. All right, and going moving
Yeah, that was the
on.
I've lost it.
So have we all.
It's a banana pie.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, when we left off previously on Infinite Horizon, the crew, formerly the crew of Awakener. I know, I said it, I phrased it that way specifically on purpose. When we left off, the crew had gone chasing down leads, to find their lost companion Alma and their ship Awakener, which had been had been kidnapped at the end of last season. Now, only to find that Alma may be the one person in the galaxy not aligned with corporate interests, to have the key to solving the mystery that Teon came back from the future to solve, the mystery of the destructive space-time anomaly, the origins of which are mysterious, but which Teon and Ada Sprix, they believe has ties to the corporations. In the process of all of this, the crew found themselves chasing down a lead that had Awakener disappearing away toward somewhere in the territory between Ascendancy space and the Border Worlds, followed closely by a scrapper ship, ostensibly under the impression that Awakener was a ghost ship, and thus prime for scrapping. Upon tracking down the scrapper ship, the crew found a distress signal that was being broadcast from a nearby planet. And when they went to investigate, they found the crashed wreckage of the scrapper ship. Among that wreckage, they also found its former crew, who had apparently been shot down under circumstances they have yet to explain. But on top of that, they were led by someone from Mason's past, his childhood best friend, a Keldra woman by the name of Cade. Together, they made an agreement that in exchange for safe passage off of the planet that they had crashed on, they would provide the black box to Bina and the crew of Awakener to try to find Awakener and the trajectory that it left after the Scrappers lost track. During that, there was an encounter with some sort of creature, a humanoid moth creature, and its swarms of moth-like insects that came and had been causing some problems to the survivors of the wreckage. However, instead of fighting, many of them opted to run, except for Bina Oba, who, using her light manipulation powers, in a manner previously unseen, created a miniature star just over the remains of the ruined city that the survivors had taken refuge in, causing not only the swarms of moths but also the moth creature to chase after it, leaving the survivors and their rescuers a clear passage back to their ship. She did. She made a lamp. So just as an aside, that is where we left off last time. But as an aside, I couldn't help but think of that meme that Nico had made for It Came from the Loop, which was Bruder, may I have the loop? But in this case, it's a deconstruction of the meme and a reconstruction of the meme, which is just Bruder, may I have the lamp?
You may, Mothman. You may.
Heart of Handprints, thank you so much for the gift subs, and B Zelda, welcome. Thank you so much for the follow.
Hi.
Good to see you. So that being where we left off last time, we begin on the, oh my god.
So it begins.
The hype train begins. I'm going to tab away before I get fully distracted by everything. So here we go, tabbing away. Oh no, tabletop audio is down, so I have nothing to tab away to. This is.
Hey,
Oh,
we're at
no.
level 3. I bet we can't get to level 4.
Drac just egging on chat. All right. So when we left off, or that is what happens when we left off. So we're actually going to pick up exactly where we left off as the solar flyer exits the atmosphere of the planet that you had just rescued the survivors of the scavenger crew. Bina, you being the last one on the ship are still sort of standing at the now raised entrance ramp. Door closed now, still with the the after image of the miniature sun that you created sort of still burned into your retinas.
I think she's glowing a little bit still, like in her hands, specifically like her fingertips from where she like threw it. I think it's still like
Cool.
how you would visualize static, or like when you're like a limb falls asleep when it gets staticky, but like visually in her fingers. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah. Standing behind Bina, Mason and Peach and Taeon, you're just sort of watching her sort of still glowing with that kind of after effect of the power. Bina, you turn back around to see all of your companions just sort of standing watching you.
Taeon is grinning.
So I didn't know I could do that. But that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And Mason's just like shake, like going like this, and like pulls up. Maybe it was a moth up in his butt by his face, throws it off.
Yeah.
Oh, good job.
We're gonna kind of like bounce a couple times. She goes, I feel tingly, and she's gonna go to the start heading towards the cockpit.
Yeah, you walk past the 6 rescued members of the crew who are all just kind of like staring at you as you pass.
Little Bina just okay.
Cade turns to you, Mason, and she just looks at you and goes, "Well, you were always one to keep really interesting company."
Yeah.
She says,
Well, this was not. Yeah, it always follows me around. I tell you.
"I can see that."
That I'm gonna kind of walk forward.
Mhm.
Nice to meet you, Peach. I know we met before, but now that we're, not running for our lives.
Yeah. Now that, yeah, exactly. And she smiles and kind of extends a hand. She says, "Well, I have a lot of questions, but first of all, most important thing, well, I guess the 2 most important things if you count this," and she sort of holds out the black box to you, Mason.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, "So, got anything to drink on this boat?"
What's your poison?
She says, "Anything that's hard to drink and makes me sleepy."
I guarantee you we have something.
I'll take it.
Right this way.
Yeah. You Bina, we'll say that you do get your hands on the black box and make your way up
Forgot
to.
that was like my priority.
In fairness, I fully buy that Bina like
Light!
yeah, I fully buy that Bina did not like just also forgot.
Caitlin's had a long week.
So
Black box.
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I picture this as like Bina starting to walk out of the that sort of the cargo hold, and then turns around and goes right, turns back around and
Yeah.
grabs it and
Just like holds out her hands to
Mhm.
Cade and is like, thank you. What is up with my...
Okay.
The lights didn't change. Nothing changed at all.
here's your lights are paying attention to continuity. Your lights are trying to keep continuity. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
The further
The
away we
lights
get.
didn't change though. Not this is the camera now.
Oh well. Huh.
Oh, it's the camera?
Yeah, the lights are exactly the same as they were a minute ago.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Ooh,
The
interesting.
lights only get brighter.
Cool.
That is their thing.
First.
I mean, we engineered this. We programmed all of this
yeah,
in
this is
as
all
to-
part of the plan.
Yeah, it's all
Special effects.
Fun.
Fix it in
That's
post,
why
guys.
you should check out our Ko-fi for more.
well done. Well said.
Nice plug. Nice plug.
smooth.
Thanks, guys.
Nice.
All right, so we'll go ahead and pick up a little, like just a few minutes later after everyone's kind of gotten settled. Mason, you are sitting down with Cade in the probably in the what passes for a galley on this small of a ship. You and Cade pretty much in there by yourselves. Her crew has pretty much just sort of taken up space in the cargo hold, as that's the one place where there is like room for everybody. And other than like the bunks. By the way, I did a little bit of, just in case anybody is actually curious, I did a little bit of math. Not really. I just did a little bit of like spatial reasoning, and there are 14 bunks. So on this ship, so there's room for that many people to sleep. Not really a whole lot of room for them to live here for long term, but yeah. So anyway, Cade sort of kicks back with sort of an out of curiosity, what did you give Cade?
Well, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be whatever was distilled on the base, and so whatever kind of rye or whiskey the base managed to procure, that Mason was like, make sure you stock up the ship, okay?
Like moonshine. Like that level.
Just straight up ethanol.
It's
Straight up.
It's probably
Straight up
close to
ethanol.
that.
it's pretty
probably
close. Yeah.
It's pretty close,
Whatever
I would
the
say.
kids in my dorms were making at like 18 years old, apple pie that was
Yeah.
just deadly.
Oh,
Everclear.
Ooh.
yeah. She takes a sip of it and just goes, "Ooh." Says, I think I've actually used this to strip paint before.
Well, you can use it now to strip away all of that.
Yeah. And she just sort of knocks it back. She says, "So,
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Well,
just sort of there's just, huh?
Like I just kind of like lean in. I'm like, what? We both have probably a lot of questions. I think, what happened?
When are you talking about?
Why'd you get blasted out of the sky?
The why, I couldn't say. The how, well, we caught wind of a potential ghost ship situation. It's not uncommon, but usually we have to find our scrap in hazardous places. Sometimes it's conflict zones, sometimes it's pirate space, sometimes it's just, if we're really desperate, sometimes it's we've scrapped a few ships that crash landed on demon worlds. Not something I'd recommend doing.
Yeah.
Says, but this one seemed like a regular. Well, it was a story about a ghost ship that we heard, and a ship that just ends up drifting for whatever reason is prime for scrappers. It's easy pickings. Usually, either everyone on board is dead or long gone, and either way, defenses tend to be down risk is minimal. It's a pretty standard operation. We swung into place, tried to dock, but the moment we did, that ship just pulled maneuvers I've never seen a ship of that size pull. She before we knew what was happening, she had her crosshairs on us, and before anybody could even react, we didn't have shields up or anything. It was slaughter. We were lucky that that planet was nearby when it happened, because otherwise we would have been drifting out in deep space. So, I'm not sure what the deal with that ship is, but whatever it is, only thing I know is it's not worth it.
Oh. It's more worth it than you know.
Maybe, but not to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes in this job you got to know when to cut your losses and head home. I'd say we're well past that point. Shit. Ship's gone. I don't know what we're going to do. Don't worry about it. You don't need to hear any of this.
I like uncork the oh, it smells good. Pour Kate another drink and pour myself one. You wouldn't be scrapping her anyway.
That's so.
Yeah. That ship.
Is that what you're after? Is that why you want the black box?
Yeah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, she's all yours.
She's in the wrong hands. As far as a ship and all that, you will we can absolutely keep you around until we can figure something out. It's just not safe out there. I know you're no stranger to danger. But for now, at least.
Appreciate that.
I mean, it's all I can do after. Kind of Mason just kind of looks down at his drink kind of ashamedly and kind of just takes another sip.
I was going to say, all this time and the thing you want to talk to me about is some ghost ship?
Yeah, the mission.
The mission. You haven't changed.
Yeah, my dad beat that into me real good. And then the regulators. And then my wife.
She was a firecracker. I liked her.
Yeah. Mason's just kind of swirling his drink. And then the fucking regulators.
I told you not to go.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a lot of pressure. Then
a lot of pressure. Do you even have any idea what happened? What I went through after you left? Do you have any clue? Do you care?
Of course I do.
Last 8.5 years, say otherwise. Tell you what happened. Without you, there was nobody to pull jobs with. Had to find myself some randos. Ended up getting nabbed by one of the street bosses. Told me I could work off my debt. And then, on a job for that street boss, I got hauled in by Ascendancy authorities. Work I never should have been doing. Work I never would have done. I get why you had to go. That place was always too small for you. But you left me. After everything. After it was us. Us against the world. It was always us. And you left. A fucking note, Mason?
Yeah, you don't understand, Kate. I had to do things. I had to do things I really didn't want to do. I found corruption in the regulators. They sent me down the pipe.
There's corruption everywhere, Frey. It's always part of... Anywhere you go, you'll find it. It's not a good enough reason. What did you do? Did it work out for you? Did you expose the corruption? Did you cleanse the regulators of their wrongdoing? Or did they chew you out and spit you out? Chew you up and spit you out like everywhere else has?
With not so much as a letter.
Well, I hope it was worth it. Sorry, it's not how I wanted this to go. I just been holding on to those words for a while.
Don't apologize. It's me. I'm sorry. You're right. And I went to a bad place and I let myself get swallowed up by my work. As a private investigator. It's the only job I could get with what little credentials I could prove and show.
Yeah.
And then I followed a job and got too close to something. I always get too close. Right before I get knocked out, or this time I really did get knocked out. And I woke up in a cryo pod on a ship flying towards a planet to crash. These folks. And a lot has happened since then too. I don't know if you've heard, so long ago it seems, but we were supposedly terrorists.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Thought it was bullshit.
You're right. And now I got these abilities, and it takes me about a whole bottle of that just to feel a buzz.
She looks... Wait a minute. Is that what your friend, is that what I...
Yep. Although that one surprised us tonight.
Well, you sure know how to get into it.
I certainly do, don't I?
She says, yeah, I never bought the terrorist shit. Figured it had the stink of some kind of frame job. You're an asshole, Frey, but you're not a terrorist.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not sure what you're hoping to find out here, but if it's at all possible, I know there's a station nearby. You can drop me and my crew there. We can find transpo wherever we need to go from there.
I mean, whatever you need, or you can stick around too. We have a base, but just don't tell anyone about it.
A base for what? Your merry little band of misfits? What are you, a pirate now? What's?
No, just trying to take out some corporations that are just too big for their own shoes.
Well,
they need to be knocked down a peg or two, or completely, if I'm being honest.
Well, I'll fucking drink to that. You know, in spite of everything, it is good to see you again. I'm still pissed at you.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I missed you.
Yeah. And she leans back and just sort of puts her foot up on the table, and just sort of says, "Well, I think it is fully time for me to pass out into a drunken stupor. So if you don't mind," she reaches across and grabs the bottle, pours a whole, much more than what you poured her into the cup, sets it back, and just says, "Take me on a tour."
Yeah, follow me. I don't sleep in my bunk. You can have my bunk. I usually just hold up on a chair or something until I sleep if I do. So let me show you the way.
All right. The two of you get up and start moving around the ship. We'll go ahead and cut to Taeyeon and Peach. The two of you are sort of at this moment. Actually, where are you?
So I probably would have first kind of given the new folks a tour of the ship and made sure they were okay and they seemed trustworthy and not suspicious. And kind of talked with them a little bit.
I can answer that for you right now. They are absolutely a shady bunch. But it seems like nothing that you need to be particularly concerned about.
Yeah. No corporate plans, no I'm gonna hijack the ship. Those are the main things.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would Tone be doing? I think Tone would probably be especially after Bina's little show there. I think he's probably just sitting somewhere. It doesn't have to be quiet. Just probably sitting in the most inconvenient place. People probably have to step around him, but he just sitting on the ground, cross-legged, typing into his wrist computer. Just above. Obviously, I don't think the characters probably won't notice, but what he's actually doing is okay, because of what Bina just showed, we're probably at this point in time, so I can talk about this kind of stuff, but not the stuff. I'm just typing it out.
And at that point, after Peach just kind of showing people around, I definitely would have kind of come up to you, probably startled you because you're focused, and said, "Hey, working on something?"
Hey, yes.
Definitely the reading over the shoulders move.
Oh no.
In mostly a joking way.
Yeah. He'll just quickly he's not even gonna try and pretend he was being subtle. He just quickly hides it and just goes, "Yeah, just typing stuff out, but the spoiler alert kind of thing, so I can't really tell you everything." But just what Bina did kind of just made me realize at what point I can talk about now, which basically means I can talk to Jade about the recent Doctor Who, the Nurse What episode. I said Doctor Who, Nurse What episode. That's the main thing. This is really about. It gets good. It's just it gets good. Okay.
Oh, you don't want to spoil him.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also don't want to risk him. The last time I told him something that happened but hadn't happened yet, he kind of put it on the wiki, and like,
Oh.
yeah, I don't want.
I guess
Don't
that's
really wanna
canon now.
risk that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's just about Nurse What. You know, Tan, if there ever was, anything important that, you learned from the future or the past that you think we could learn from, I mean, I know you want to keep everything hush hush to not, mess up the future, but we are trying to kind of create a new one. So anything you got, you can hit me with.
Yeah, I think if something happens or happened or will happen that I can tell you, I will make sure I do. Anything that's important.
Mhm.
As long as it doesn't mess with. I'm still really kind of learning how time works. I'm trying to be very cautious about it. But yeah, no, don't worry. Anything that is important, I'll definitely let you all know.
Yeah, so nothing comes to mind.
No.
Okay. Just, keep in mind sometimes when people are sleeping, sometimes I don't mean to, of course, but sometimes I can, find my way into dreams. It's usually not on purpose. And I saw something that was a little concerning to me.
Theon's face kind of like drops. What did you see?
Last time you were here, we didn't win. You saved us. We were gone. We were launched into space.
I mean, yeah.
We were dead.
But Theon is kind of like just.
She's trying to see what you'll say. Like she's trying to provoke you.
Yeah. Theon was kind of like. And you saw that in my dream?
Yeah. Dreams are they're like doors. Sometimes I don't always open them, but they open themselves.
I mean, it was just a dream.
It's just a dream.
I mean, yeah. I have nightmares sometimes.
Taeyeon, do you know how many years I've worked in politics? Pretty good at telling when people are lying. Like, I don't know why you felt the need to keep that from us or from me. But if there's any other helpful tidbits that you think you can, slide our way. I mean, we are all in this together.
I did mean it when I said that if anything happened or will happen that I can tell you that it's important, I will. But all of you dying isn't important. we stopped in Tropis. We rescued Jade. Like Jade, nothing. We didn't. You didn't need to know what could have happened. What did happen? That was a thing that I just wanted to. I'm the only one that needs to deal with that.
How are we supposed to learn from our mistakes if we don't even know that we've made them?
That's what I'm here for.
Well, I hope you'll be there the next time, but we need all of the help we could get. We need everything. We need to know everything. I'm not angry at you. I just think that I think it would have helped to know.
I am very lost here. Bringing Ada was one, I didn't want to leave them, but also the last time I came here, I was lost and a little bit confused, and having someone had my back was nice. But I do want to say that I'm a captain of a squad. I've been part of the resistance for you guys at this point in time longer than you have. And telling my squad that they die isn't great for morale. I didn't think it would help you in any way if Entropis or anyone there had somehow escaped, or in our second try anyway. I would have told you what had happened, because maybe knowing that would have helped, but it didn't. It wasn't relevant. It wasn't going to help us. You would just have the fact that you died in your head, and you don't need that.
Again, if you think of anything else we don't need to know, feel free to let me know. And I'm going to go ahead and leave at that point. I'm going to go and kind of go check up on if there's anybody that needs help finding anything, or a bunk or anything.
Taeyeon kind of just he kind of slumps a little bit and heads over to his room, his bunk, and just lays there.
Peach, as you turn away from Taeyeon and kind of move elsewhere, you catch sight of your reflection in sort of one of the shinier surfaces on the interior bulkhead, and you immediately are aware that it's not you. And as you look and you meet her gaze, she just looks at you and just kind of gives you a knowing look, shrugs, and then and you realize that in that moment you are once again looking at your own reflection.
And I'm kind of staring kind of at her reflection. She kind of lingers there
For a moment.
And do I is the I don't feel presence. It's just that for
It
a
was
second.
just a very brief flicker of it. But the fact is that since this version of you from an alternate timeline, since she first appeared to you fully and obviously back on Station 23, even when she wasn't physically here, the presence hasn't gone away since then. Sometimes it's easy to forget that it's there,
Yeah.
but you have this new awareness in you that she's there. You can't help.
I kind of give myself a wink in the reflection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and cut to Bina, as you are currently just like
Chilling. He's just chilling.
yeah, you Jade and
Good.
Adasprix are currently in the cockpit, just sort of having now plugged the black box into the computer and are starting to like pull like a stream of data from it. The nice thing about this particular data is that it's pretty easy. It's pretty organized. It is explicitly for this purpose, and so it's no trouble at all to. Might have been a little bit more difficult if you had to yank it yourself, because then you would have had to deal with encryptions and things like that. But the fact that they're the owners of the ship are the ones who pulled the black box means you don't have to deal with any of that. So you're pretty quickly able to pull the sensor data from just before the ship went down. As you look at it, Jade is looking over. He goes, "Well, it does look like they were fired on. Looks like it was Awakener that did it."
Okay. Well, bad news. Someone's using our upgraded ship to attack poor scrappers. Good news. It was Awakener, and we at least know they were nearby.
Ada nods and she goes, "Yeah, it looks like before the ship fully went down, before it stopped pulling sensor data, I actually think I might have a heading."
Ada Spriggs feels just like surge of like excitement and then a clamp down on
Yeah.
it. Like
She looks up at you and just flashes you a grin, and you feel just in response you feel reassurance and excitement, and then back to it.
focused.
Mm-hmm. She goes, "I think it should be pretty. That's actually not too far from here." She says, I think I can extrapolate an end destination. This is so much more than what I was expecting. Give me
Me too.
Give me a few minutes, and I think I should be able to run the data and cross-reference it with some of the sensor buoy info that we picked up earlier. Should be able to find something. Maybe not a destination, because I mean this was weeks ago, but if that ship is anywhere within the immediate sector, I think I should be able to pin down where.
At the very least, it's another stepping stone.
Right. And she's been standing this whole time. You in the pilot seat, Jade in the co-pilot seat. She's just been standing. She just goes into the corner of the cockpit and just sort of sits down on the ground, brings her knees up to her chest, and just starts going like messing on her
Bina
terminal.
would have given up the pilot seat.
She would not have noticed.
That's fair.
Definitely did not notice. They're fully engrossed in what they're doing. Like, basically, what you're getting the impression that Adasprix is someone who, once there is a puzzle to be solved, she's just in it.
Right.
It needs to.
I mean, she's very much. They have I feel like Tech Orzai have a similar like attitude towards tech, because a lot of Ors I don't do like hyper technology stuff, so any of them who are have that same like so they just
Yeah.
have different specialties.
Yeah.
I think Bina is like getting up, walking in a circle, sitting down, standing up, crossing her legs, uncrossing her legs, crossing two of her arms, then four of them, and then two of them again, and then hands on her hips, and like very much what she wants stuff.
Um, you can sense through all of this that Jade is like watching you and is internally struggling whether he should say something or not.
Understandable.
But he doesn't get the chance because it probably only about maybe 3 or 4 minutes go by before Ada Sprix looks up. She says, I've got it. You can feel that surge of excitement.
Yeah.
Just
She feels it back.
just elation. She says, and not just a heading. I think I have a destination.
All forms, gimme, like gimme hands.
Yeah, she just like
doesn't
swipes.
say it, but-
She just swipes it over to the cockpit console. You can see the star charts pull up. There's a sector not there's a region of space not far from here, maybe about likely, depending on how you burn, you could probably get there in under 4 days.
Cool.
And as you're looking at that, you're starting to think back to like, well, wait a minute, if it's that close, then why didn't we pick up anything? And then you look at the rest of the data. The rest of the data is data on the sector itself that you're going towards. It is a region of space that is dominated by a massive space storm.
Why wouldn't it be?
This is an anomaly that a spatial anomaly that Bina probably would have heard of. It has many names, none that particularly suit it better than any other. That none that are called officially. There's not like an official name for it, but it is a well-known obstacle in space that has been the bane of the
Many a pilot.
many a pilot, specifically those who do sort of supply runs to the outer edges of ascendancy territory. It is a dangerous and impassable anomaly that has never been fully charted because they gave up pretty early, because those who tried ended up getting pretty severely damaged. The ships ended up severely damaged, or in many cases just didn't come back. It's a maelstrom of electrical storms, constant electrical storms, and a sort of electromagnetic current that whips up any debris that happens to come nearby and just sends it around in sort of effectively a meat grinder in space. It's a bad time. In fact, the only thing that is within the only inhabited space anywhere near it, there's a single planet that is within, that passes through the storm, through one of the outermost arms of the storm, about once a year. It's a planet that is occupied by corporate interests. It is one of the corporate colonies. But the most interesting thing, and it's Jade who brings it up. Jade goes, "Wait a minute, that has to be, I think you miscalculated, Ada." Like, I mean, not to I don't want to, no offense, but I think you might have miscalculated because, and you see it at the same time that Jade does, because the destination that she extrapolated from the data is somewhere in the center of that storm.
Bina kind of like squints at it for a second, and she goes, "Well, I wouldn't put it past them."
Ada Sprix shrugs. Her wings sort of flutter, and you can feel a little bit of like just a flash of irritation, and she says, "No, that's what I've got. If anything's wrong, it's not in my calculations. It's in the data, which is possible, but that's where my extrapolation has it pegged. So."
Makes sense to me.
Jade looks at you and goes, "How?"
We've dealt with Stranger.
Yeah, but at least the last time we went on a suicide run, it wasn't quite. There was at least a chance we were going to make it through. That.
Bina kind of kind of looks down at her hands for a second and then is like, I could navigate it. I bet I could.
You see Jade and Ada and Jade just like exchange a quick look and then look back at you. Jade says, "Bina, I've seen you do.
You
some
don't
incredible...
have to come. I'll drop all of you at a station on the other side of Conduit. We have to try. We have to look. We have to check, at the very least."
He looks at you and kind of just looks down at his lap, shakes his head.
I'm going. No matter what. I have to go.
He looks up and he says, "I'll see what I can do about recalibrating the shields. Maybe give us some extra protection." And he stands up and he starts walking out of the cabin. He turns around and he gives you this look, this sort of very intense, determined look. And for a moment, Bina, you don't see any trace of that 18-year-old kid that you picked up. He looks at you and he says, "Whatever it takes."
Whatever it takes.
He turns back and exits.
And Bina just kind of like slips down into her chair. and goes,
Ouch.
Yeah. Ada Sprix looks up at you and just says, "For what it's worth, I think you can do it." She says, "I can try to write some sort of prediction algorithm. It might help give us an edge when it comes to navigating the debris."
Yeah, anything. I'm gonna have to make. We're gonna need a partial overhaul at the very least. The ship is not ideal to fly anywhere in, but I think it's doable. We've overcome worse.
Well,
She kind of grimaces at that, like maybe that's not true,
Uh,
but she doesn't voice it. She's kind of.
yeah. Ada, she nods and says, "Well, we've got a few days to do those overhauls, and if we get started now, I think I could probably have at least a rudimentary algorithm written out."
What this particular ship, sorry, I don't have I know what Awakener is capable of. I don't know what the Solar Flyer has going on. Is there any sort of like tractor beam, any sort of like pulses, anything that normally goes out or in, like that I could try to invert into like I'm thinking something to the sorry, I'm getting into crafting mode. I don't know if we're at this point
absolutely.
yet, but like something that we could do to try to negate like the electromagnetic shit, like some not a shield per se,
Mhm.
but like emanate something that either will dampen the effects of the
Essentially,
storm.
just like find some way of having like the inverse pulse of the
Yeah.
frequency. Yeah. Okay.
And it's gonna probably have to be changing, and someone's probably gonna have to be managing it as we move through, because I'm sure it's not one continuous thing. But
Yeah.
maybe that will help protect the ship while we navigate it in case I bungle it pretty bad.
Yeah. I will say that it is. You would
It's
just know
capable of
it's
that.
yes. So this ship does have something that you could. Suffice it to say that you think it's possible, given what you've seen of the ship and given what you know you can do with it. It is possible. The degree to which that is possible will probably depend on some rolls.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah,
Just if the bases, the foundations are there, we can work with it. But
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know if that was even something I could attempt.
absolutely. So I think what we're gonna do at this point is we're gonna montage our way through these next few days.
I think we're gonna have to, inform the crew of the plan.
Yeah.
See if anybody wants to go home first.
Oh God.
'Cause we have a bunch of people on this ship who might have a destination for us to drop them off first,
Yeah.
which might extend our journey.
So there is a station like kind of like just not one of the kind of larger stations or anything like that, just sort of a trade outpost. It's less of a trade outpost actually. It's more of like a supply depot. It's a hub that it's a stopover point for cargo runners, and a place where cargo gets moved from one ship to another ship and then taken to distributed in the region essentially. But it should have basically Cade's crew. They are. That's kind of where they prefer to be dropped after some conversation discussion amongst them and all that. You can see that basically what they decide is that they'd rather be dropped off. They want no part of what they see as an absolutely suicidal run into a terrifying space storm.
Caitlin thinks I might be right.
Here.
Caitlin's ready to party.
Yeah. You. So we'll go. Yeah. So all of that being said, we'll go ahead and just have a quick scene. At we'll have a scene sort of at a quick scene at the station as you're docked, kind of refueling, having obtained special permission to do so. Typically, civilian vessels, non-cargo vessels, are not permitted. But you have Peach. I just assume Peach was able to talk you into it. Talk you into a refuel. Standing at the airlock, Mason, Cade's crew is disembarking. Sort of with some scattered thanks and all that, and finally it's just the two of you standing there. And she says, "So you're really gonna go through with this, huh?"
You know me, I'm not one to sit things out.
Yeah. Well, things pull through. Things work out for you. And you see she just sort of reaches for her terminal, and you can see she brings up the holo display and then swipes over. She says, "It's my new contact frequency. If you make it through,
I accept.
If you make it through, just give me a ping. Let me know that you made it. Maybe I'll come find you.
Will do.
It'll be fine. You're too stubborn to die."
That's probably more true than you even know.
All right.
Here, I'm gonna give this. Mason hands over like a paper bag that's wrapped up kind of weirdly. It's just a bottle.
Mm-hmm. She takes it.
Here you go. In case you need sleep. Or you just need a drink.
She taps the bottle and just, "Thanks.
I made some adjustments.
I don't even want to know."
Take care of yourself.
She kind of half turns and then just looks back at you and she says, "Don't fucking die."
You too.
Without another word, she just turns to
Love
the
you
others.
too.
Turns and joins the rest of her crew. And you see as the airlock closes between you, the ship sort of disconnects from the station.
Mason's like takes his last drag and just like flicks it right out of the airlock right before it closes. Don't litter, by the way. Don't do it.
All right. So, before we take our break, we're gonna have a few rolls. So, all right. So, Caitlin, order of priorities here. What are you trying to accomplish?
I think I want to like involve everyone and see if anyone else has ideas on how like this is a big thing we're doing, and Bina has enough self-awareness to know that she's tunnel visioning a little bit. So she wants to make sure that everyone who's going on this potential death mission has a hand in it. So she wants to like kind of call like everyone together to be like, okay, this is what I have planned. Do any of you have any ideas or any specialties that we can help prepare things? Can I use you to like whatever to assign things to? So she kind of just wants to see what everyone else has to say about this particular endeavor, if anything, and it's fine if not. She'll just use you as a helper.
Are you nervous, Bina, about this?
No. Lying through her teeth.
Yeah.
Aha. Mason.
Oh, go ahead.
I could get on the guns and try to shoot debris away.
Are we armed?
Nope.
We're not armed. I remember that specifically. We're not armed.
Nope.
I roll. Wasn't sure.
It's been Taewon hasn't need it, but he has his helmet on and his face is obscured, so you can't see his face, and just which is probably, I think Ada probably knows that it's odd because he doesn't usually wear it, he doesn't need to, but in the ship he's just wearing it and sitting there with the group and kind of raises his hand. Okay, this might sound crazy. We did it before. It was great. I think Ada probably remembers when we did this last. I can shunt things out of like time for a bit. Basically, there's one mission where we had to go through almost an asteroid belt, and so I just kind of sat on the top of the ship, and anything that got too close that we couldn't avoid, I kind of shunted it out.
Do you have to be on the outside of the ship? Because
I
I
have to
think that's a
touch it.
bad idea here.
Yeah.
I kind of have to touch it.
Okay. No.
No? Okay.
Bad here.
Ada,
Am I correct, DM, in assuming that would be a terrible idea?
it
Yeah.
sure would.
Okay. Just want to double check.
However, if you had time, there is tinkering that could be done with some of Taeon's tech that could potentially, basically like repurposing the chronotech that you have, repurposing it a little bit, where you might be able to use it to basically like find a way of extending that range for a
Like
moment.
short range, like
Short range isn't going to be particularly helpful, but
medium range.
Long
That's not a
range.
thing. Extra long range.
yeah, it might be possible, but yes, Caitlin.
Bina digs into her bag. I don't know if this counts. Hold on. She pulls out. I have a spatial warp. And if, DM, you will allow us to modify Tan's powers through his suit, you attach to a single target device. It affects the range to extend to 1 mile.
That's true. Yeah.
So I don't know what that would do, or if that would even be allowed to
Yeah.
work
that
together. But I have that Cypher. I've had it
Absolutely.
for a while.
Wait, what is it called again?
Spatial warp. I've had
Yeah,
this
yeah.
since like
Mm-hmm.
forever. I've never had. I've never been able to find.
What
use
level
for it.
Cypher was that?
5.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yep. No, that would do it. It
I'm
actually
gonna be using both of my Cyphers
fact-
this episode,
honestly,
just so you know.
the fact that you have that actually probably reduces the amount of time that it would take to make it to begin to like rig it all up, because that's a little bit. The thing that would take time is figuring out how to repurpose that chronotech to do specifically what you want it to do. But in combination of those things, basically using Taeon's suit to focus his basically as like a focus for that power, and kind of repurposing that spatial warp. I could
Ooh.
absolutely see that being a thing.
I mean, the moment Bina suggests that, Taeon looks very nervous. Like, I mean, doesn't even look. Bina feels the nerves, like very intense nerves. I think, and it kind of looks at Ada and back at Bina and just goes, "Okay, I don't really like people. I mean, I'm Cometh. We don't really like people messing with our tech, but
I mean, you can
Can I
do the tech if you want to.
okay,
I
yeah,
don't
I think
have
I'll.
to do it.
Yeah, I think I'll.
I can show you how it works because it's kind of a weird piece of thing, but then you can do it if you want to.
Yeah, no, I think I'll do it. Yeah.
I have a lot of refits to do, so that's probably for the better.
Yeah. So, all right. So, sorry, I don't mean to stop the planning. Just
Oh, that's really cool. That will help if you're up in maybe the cockpit with us. You can kind of keep an eye on sensors. And she kind of turns. Isbricks, your multiples. How long do they last? Do you function individually?
about actually, I don't know that and the answer off the top of my head. I think
Enough? Does it last long enough to navigate the storm? Do you think?
I think that they last indefinitely, but I think the only thing that changes as you go up tiers how much health they have,
yes, I think you're right about that. We're just gonna say that for
or
the
like
sake
how
of
much
this.
pawns.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's gonna say, I can keep it that I can do that as long as I need to.
Okay.
Which, you know, if things go poorly, won't be very long at all. But if they go well, then hopefully also won't be
Hooray.
that long.
Okay.
And I mean, for they, my double will operate mostly under direction, but if I give her a task, she'll do it. So
Okay. Because I was thinking maybe having one of the Adas on sensors and one of the Adas running the program that you built.
oh, that could work. And you see, just immediately she just splits in two. It's just, there's now two of Ada Spriggs.
Double trouble.
Yeah.
We're gonna need also this is I don't think something that Bina would specify, but me as Caitlin, the reason I'm very particular about this is because I feel like having several Orzai working together, I think you get quicker we'll get quicker like reaction time if it's like, hey, an emergency before you can say it, I feel it and I can keep an eye out then too. Like
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. Cool.
which is why Orzai work well together, which is
Yeah.
why it's so sad that they don't do tech stuff as a crew because like they would be really good at it.
Yeah.
But that was so Bina's probably going to need everything focused on piloting, so having
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
people who are going to be focusing on other things is going to be helpful.
I'll tell you what, Caitlin. For that, I will go ahead and say if you spend 2 XP right now, you'll have
Done.
that as an asset. Yep.
Done.
Yep. You can have that Orzai like emotional connectedness that will give you that little bit of extra edge and reaction time.
Love that. Okay. Write that down so I don't forget.
Bina, if you're feeling really nervous right before we're about to go into this terrible, awful, scary storm, just let me know. I can maybe help take the edge off a little bit.
Oh yeah, great.
Okay.
I'm good, but I'll let you know what you look like.
Jade,
Okay.
Jade
I'll
speaks
keep
up.
an eye.
Jade speaks up and he says, "If we manage to rig the pulsing, there's no way that we're going to be able to predict the frequencies that are going to be needed. So we'll need somebody operating it. At least at least 2 people will need to operate that.
Yeah.
He glances over at where Mason and Vix are standing. Vix just sort of looks at you, Mason, and he says, "I think we've just been volunteered."
I wouldn't sit it out.
Yeah,
Go team.
I think I can pencil it in. I think,
Up.
And I think being a solo, like one thing that I know I want to do that probably wouldn't involve anyone except for Jade here would be just to do like a full, very intensive, like systems check, maybe even a restart just to make sure everything's fresh, and then like a full inspection of specifically like the hull of the ship, but just like everything. She wants to spend a lot of time. Like we'll probably set on autopilot, and she'll spend the next as much time as she can like scouring every inch of the ship because 1, she's not familiar with it, and 2, she again for the same reasons she wants to make sure that everything is literally as peak condition as it can be for the ship that it is.
Yeah.
Before we go and put it through a quote unquote meat grinder.
yeah.
Bermuda Triangle in space. That's what's worse.
Oh no.
So, I will say before we get to any like rolling and stuff like that, I would like to say that you can thank our patron writers room for this particular space storm.
Ooh.
Excellent.
Thanks,
That's awesome.
guys.
They created it a while ago.
Thanks.
Listen, they had no
It
idea
dies
how
all
it was
your
going to get
fault.
used. They had no
They
idea.
Just kidding. It's cool. It's really cool, but
They had no
Yeah.
idea how it was going to get used.
No, of course not.
I saw it on the list. I was like, you know what?
it
So
hurt itself in its confusion.
I love the space storm idea. It's so
It's really
cool.
sick.
It really is cool.
all right. So, I think we need some rolls. I think the ones that I know of right now, off the top of my head, are. Sorry. So, what specifically is Bina taking care of right now, during this few days that you've got?
She's gonna walk Tan through the specifics of this device that she has had for a while and had a lot of time to work, so just to help out with it. And I would even help oversee if you wanted. I could give you encouragement, so you'd get a +2 to not a +2. Sorry, I have a +2. You'd get a 1 asset.
Yeah.
If you wanted help, if you're gonna have to roll for that device, I would help out with that. But otherwise, she is gonna start basically seeing what sort of partial refit she can do on the ship.
Okay. So basically, just sort of doing overhauling of systems, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. So those are, and that's the 2 main things that you were doing, right, during this time?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So, and then Taeyeon, you're kind of messing with the suit, kind of tuning that. I really do think those might be our roles here. So, so Caitlin, the overhaul of the ship, it's not a particularly complex or advanced vessel. So it's something that Bina has probably, maybe not this specific class of ship, but similar ones, has done overhauls on.
And if there's anything we could have picked up when we dropped off
Sure.
those people, we probably would have just, because
Yeah.
I don't know what, probably don't have probably a lot available to us here.
Yeah. So, so we're gonna go ahead and have that be a roll. The difficulty on that roll is gonna be 4. It's not, it's moderate.
Okay. So,
And I think this is gonna be. I'm trying to. I think it'll probably be an. I want to say it'll be an intellect task, but I also think it could be a speed task. I think we're gonna go ahead and. Depends on how you're. Okay, let's put it this way. Let's do this. Are you trying to be thorough or get as much done as possible? That's the
Thorough.
question here. Thorough. Okay.
thorough.
Then it's an
Yeah.
intellect
She
task.
wants a solid
Okay.
job.
Okay.
Okay. So you said 4?
Yeah. Difficulty 4 intellect task.
Okay. So mechanic?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm pitching this to you. I am making this ship do something that it wasn't intended to do.
Mhm.
Jury rigging,
Yeah.
which is
I could
a
see
new
that.
thing I picked up this tier. Cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this
and
place,
then I
this thing
have-
is not built for hazardous environments,
Yeah, cool. And then
or for speed flying of any kind, or maneuverability, or
yeah, so
really anything that you're doing right now.
we're gonna just make it work.
Yeah.
We're gonna put a square into that round hole, and it's gonna be fine. And I doubt my. Well, I don't guess. I mean, I drop it down anyways, but I like to see how far I go.
All right.
Just like
All the
does,
way.
like like the tasks involving sight to find things. I didn't think so. Okay, but I'm free level effort. So that's-
Okay, so you don't have to roll. Is that what I?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Cool. Do you want to anyway?
No.
Okay. Cool.
My hubris has burned me before on this.
Oh.
Check the box.
Yeah.
Just
All right. So yeah. So it's a very
Chat says social interactions plus.
Doesn't otherwise.
I mean, they're involved, but I don't think it's going to affect the roll.
No.
But they are involved. No. But yeah, you no problem. You are able to very like thoroughly run through
This is her expertise.
Yeah.
Entirely.
There's like you run up. There are limitations to what what you can get this ship to do, but you hit them, all of them. So right now this ship is currently as likely to be able to do what you're making it do as it would ever be.
Yep, correct. That's all I wanted out of it.
Yeah. So
that probably takes me the majority of the days.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
what I'll say about this is that what this is going to allow you to do is it's going to make the run possible. My guess is that Bina had been sort of running some numbers on this whole thing, and basically you tell me if I'm wrong, but the way I see it, Bina would not have informed anybody about their chances,
Nope.
which were negligible.
The thing is, though, in the current state, she knows what she's capable of as far as like ship recreation.
Yeah.
So like looking at it and been like, okay, current state. If she gets her four hands on it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's
And
where
she says with that she can work with.
Yeah.
So like that's her take on it.
It's the difference between a door being slightly ajar and being fully slammed closed, locks all the way down. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I think if anyone asked her what her thoughts were on that particular thing, she would tell you. But like but I don't think she would have gone out of her way to be like, this is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically for this, which is just being Bina doesn't like lie, so the fact that she's trying to cover up how
Yeah.
freaked out she is about this is like
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna have one more roll before we go to break, and I'm gonna say right down at this point, given that this is our last episode of the year, what I think we are going to do is we are going to be a little bit longer tonight than we normally would. It's not gonna be by much, probably not more than like maybe half an hour, but just to make sure that we are able to get through as much as possible tonight before we go on our break for a couple weeks. So Drac,
Yeah.
Taeon spends some time tinkering with his suit and this piece of tech that Bina has provided him with. So
was I able to provide an asset or for this role or not? It's totally fine if not.
I don't know that Bina would have found the time,
Perfect.
given
Sounds
that
good.
you went for being thorough, and I think that's
Cool.
yeah. So
Yeah, makes sense.
so this is going to be probably a difficulty. I think this is also going to be a difficulty 4.
Oh, okay. I think like. Oh, okay, so is Bina gonna be? Oh, so Bina has no time at all. So it's gonna be him. Okay.
Now here's
Okay,
what I
so
will
yeah,
say.
he's-
I will say the fact that you're messing with Kamathi tech is going to give you an asset here. So that's yeah.
I was gonna say the help I was gonna give was the empathic help. So if he's literally in the room with me while I'm doing tech work, I can give you encouragement just passive, like as an area effect.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was how I
think
was
that worked because
pitching.
yeah, he's definitely nervous because I don't think he said it. He's told Jade, but he hasn't told like I don't think he's come up anyone else. Like the core in the suit is storing the energy that he needs to go back to his time after he's done. So if something goes wrong, he's stranded here until he's able to collect the excess amount of energy to like jump back again. So yeah, that's definitely gonna be helpful. Sorry,
Okay,
that's
so that's
2
actually,
assets,
yeah, that's 2 assets.
and that's the most I can get anyway.
Mm-hmm. So you're down to a difficulty 2 right now.
Yeah, I don't want to risk it. I want to. I'm gonna spend a level of effort to bump it down. One more time.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna use an intellect for this because I feel like speed is definitely not what it's going for right now.
So here's what I'm
He
going
wants
to tell
us to
you,
be
by the
thorough
way,
and
just
safe.
this is sort of a thing that I'll tell all of you, is that since this is happening kind of in a montage sort of thing, and the way that recovery works in Cypher, when you actually get to the moment, I'm just going to set you at like you're back up to full. So if there was a time to go ham, it's here. So
Okay. Yeah, in that case, I'm gonna go ham and spend another level of effort to make that. And no rolls necessary.
Okay.
I'm still gonna roll though.
Okay.
First roll.
9.
Okay. So you it takes a bit of tinkering, but you're able to just the hardest thing is sort of making the tech that Bina handed you and your suit, making them talk. That's the hardest thing. Because when it comes to manipulating your own culture's tech, that's basically every Chemoth by the time they reach adolescence have a baseline level of proficiency with all of their tech. So like this is a thing that basically you messing with your own suit and modifying your own suit is something that you could probably do in your sleep. But making it talk to something else, to another piece of tech, it's a little harder. Not only because of your lack of
different time period.
Yeah, not exactly. Not only because you're not as familiar with that other tech, but also because you have to sort all kinds of compatibility issues, and on top of that, what you're working with here is outdated compared to your suit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were able to do it. It takes some doing, and you figure it probably isn't. It's definitely gonna burn out the spatial warp. It's definitely gonna burn that out. Totally unusable afterwards. But you figure you have when you roll a 9. Yeah, I'd say that you've got a good 2 uses out of that.
Okay.
I don't know if this is,
that's enough.
but for someone to take it off of my sheet because I no longer have it, but it's a level 5, extends to 1 mile, just for you.
Okay.
Just so I can take it off my sheet.
Sounds good. Is that one of the ones that has, Caitlin, that has like a specific amount of time that it does that, or is it like a 1 use?
I think the level 5 decides what that is. But
Okay.
I don't know if that means it has what that means, because it just said you can attach to a single target device so that it can't target more than multiple things at once. And it affects the range to extend to 1 mile. And I just don't know if the level 5 is the number of uses or if that's the power level, the damage. Like it's not damage, it's like maybe it's damage. I don't know what the 5 means, but it's level 5.
I suspect that it's under amount of time. The way that this works is it gives you like a set amount of time that it will work once you activate it. But just because that's kind of how a lot of ciphers work. But I'll look at it during the break and tell you for sure. Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything that Peach or Mason wants to do to prepare?
Clean up the space so everyone has an uncluttered mind. And right before we get into actually doing it, I want to do something,
Sure.
but not like just in preparation.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe Mason has anything to do until the actual space meat grinder, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
Insurrection? Okay.
When
Then
life hands you
Mason's-
the meat
Bina might
grinder.
make you help
Mason,
her.
that's fine. I'll do that. And Mason's gonna go and make coffee then.
Okay, just making sure everybody's needs are met during this period. All right, sounds good. All right, so at this moment we'll cut ahead to that time. Bina, you are in the cockpit with Jade, just about to jump out of FTL at your target destination. Jade looks sideways at you and he just says, "Okay." I mean, I think we're as prepared as we're gonna be. I guess. We just gotta, stick with the plan, right? And of course, Ada has her algorithm, and everything's gonna. And he just sort of starts rambling off all this stuff. You can tell that he's definitely just trying to. He's just nervously rambling at this point.
Yeah. Bina is rolling. There's like a little like it almost looks like a canister that she's like rolling between her hands that she's not using for anything currently, but she's just got a hold on it, says if she's trying to remind herself that she has it. And I'm not gonna do anything with it until we get there, but I want to so that everyone else helps Caitlin remember that she's holding something that she's gonna use later.
Okay. You hear the comm beep as you look down at the nav, and it signals the exit point. And as you drop out of FTL, you see space very suddenly in front of you, sort of pull back into real space. And as you look ahead, you see a colossal storm. Dust and debris throughout the whole thing, rendering it opaque. It is a massive dust cloud in space. And all through it, you can see these spiraling branches of electricity that just sort of scatter out and snake across the surface of this. Every once in a while, you can even see from inside as electricity within the cloud of dust lights it up from the inside. It is a terrifying, anomaly in space that dominates the entirety of your forward view.
I think as Bina's like eyeing it up, like just like staring very intently at it as we're standing there watching the like lightning flicker through it. Jade is probably I think the only one in there right now can kind of see like under her carapace there's like a rumbling of like light that kind of matches it as she's like squaring up with this storm.
Yeah. And so, one by one, you all kind of stand up from your seats in just behind the cockpit and stand kind of staring out the forward viewport from where you can see the crew of Awakener staring down the oncoming storm. And that's where we're going to go to our break.
Cool.
Oh.
So, but the potential for TPK tonight. How are we feeling?
I know, I
Let's
was thinking
go.
that.
It's
Do it.
Happy
fine.
New
I have
Year!
a backup character ready. It's cool.
All right, perfect. All right, everybody. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, and then we will continue with the next leg of this particular journey. We'll see you in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Die.
And we're back. Hello, everybody. We are back from our break, and where we left off, the crew was preparing to dive headlong into a space storm, the likes of which has never been successfully navigated before, in order to find on the trail of Awakener and hopefully their lost companion. So, after some modifications that Bina ran on the solar flyer, basically souping it up to 11, and some modifications to Taeon's suit for some to extend his the range of some of his abilities to protect them from some of the larger debris. The crew prepares for a very, very, very dangerous run I'm not gonna lie to you. This is probably one of the most dangerous things that this crew has done so far in the entirety of this series. So
And we
Woo!
were on an asteroid that had a bomb that was shunted into it, so
yeah.
Right.
ship-sized explosive.
Yeah. So,
Goodness.
you stand. You basically all sort of sit there, sort of taking in the enormity of this storm in space. Even from where even seeing it for yourself, it's kind of hard to believe this thing, just because it looks so out of place.
Did you say if it had a name?
It has many names,
Many names.
but
Okay, that's right. That's what you said.
yeah, yeah. But it is it's definitely you're just sort of at this moment taking it in.
Crackling.
Yeah.
The electricity. Can we feel it? Can we feel the electricity from the ship?
Probably not. Right now your ships your shields are sort of preventing some of like most of that at this distance. As you're standing there, Vic sort of leans over your shoulder, Peach, and he goes, "So we're flying into that, huh?"
Yep.
Is it too late to get off and hitch a ride somewhere?
No, it's not too late. We would have to
Bina
fill. We would have to fill in your job though, and that would, we'd be a little short-staffed.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Bina says, "I told you could have gotten off at the station with the other crew." As she's like flipping switches to like.
Because if I die, there's no one to get you out of trouble, so it's better just if you
Oh,
come with us.
that's true. And then I'll have to talk to Mom and explain all of this, and yeah. All right, let's go.
I think, it'll be fine. It'll go great.
All right. So, Jade looks over his shoulder, over the shoulder of the co-pilot seat, and he says, "All right, we'll be coming in range soon. Everybody should get into position."
Bina says, "I haven't had to say this in a while, but you might want to strap in."
Sedona is already has the cross webbing across the as she is currently you see Sedona basically is sitting with the trauma kit just sort of clutched to her chest,
Good, yeah.
just sort of ready just in case.
Good, yeah, good.
All right, so
I think everyone, we might not be able to feel the electromagnetic from the storm, but I think everyone in the cockpit and nearby can feel just the static electricity of Bina's revving anticipation of doing this. So whether that hypes you up or makes you more nervous, that's up to you. But
at that feeling, before we kind of jump into the storm, Peach is just gonna say, "Bina, how you feeling?"
Great.
Good?
And
Okay.
it's true. I'll just Peach knows people. Bina's, yeah. At this point, she's past the point of fear and tipped into manic glee.
Okay. Well, Bina,
The
Oba,
likes
you
of which
are...
you,
Oh, good.
I was the likes of which you probably have not seen on her in a very
Yeah.
long time.
Well, I'm not scared. You're the best pilot in the whole galaxy, so
She preens a little bit at that, but privately to herself.
you're in total control. Nothing to be afraid of. And if Bina seems scared at all, that's kind of just a statement. But if I sense any kind of fear or worry or any kind of tension, Peach is going to kind of turn that into a little bit of an impart ideal. And by a little bit, I mean she is. And literally just say that there's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, geez. Okay.
all right.
You
So
could Bina kind of gave you the go ahead, like
Yeah, that was what she was asking earlier. Basically.
So like you could just do that if you wanted to, or you can wait until, because I think maybe if we actually had something rocky and spooky, that might freak her out in the moment.
well,
but
impart
it's
ideal
your
lasts a
call.
couple hours, so
It's
it
your
should.
call. It's your call.
Let's do it then.
Okay.
There.
This might last a couple of weeks. No.
God.
all right.
All right.
So-
As we're getting as soon as we're in, like, about to start getting like funky mode, I have a adrenal syringe, which she's going to pop through the carapace of her arm, which is going to give me an increase to my speed edge by 1 for 1 hour.
Cool.
I
All
also
right.
want to add to this if I can. I think now things are getting serious. He kind of like he takes off his helmet, and he just Taylor just kind of lets out a breath. As you see, like his left eye kind of crackle and glow as he kind of starts like welling up his power, and as he like lets out a breath out of his mouth, like it's basically like mist, but like the Ouroboros behind me just kind of comes out of his mouth as he places a hand down on just the floor of the ship. And I'm going to use I think I can use, I'm not sure, distortion. You modify how light reflects off a target for 1 minute. The target rapidly shifts between a normal appearance and a blot of darkness. The target has oh no, this is no, because it's gonna be a speed roll, not speed defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
Damn it. In that case, I'm just gonna put, I don't know if this will help at all, but I'm gonna use force field instead.
Okay.
And just add armor to this add armor to our ship for this moment, because I can use it on an item.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so around the ship you just see like, at first it looks like just a immediate space around the ship fractured, and in that split second you can look, if you look at the reflection of the weird fractures in space, I think I mentioned this before, you see like the reflection of yourself but in different points in time. So you see like a young Peach, but then a much older Peach, and then a Peach from a few seconds ago, and a Peach in a few seconds in the future, and then that disappears and fades away as it like solidifies, and that's as he puts the force field around the ship, just a little bit more of a buffer just in case.
She gets used to it to help out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, as everybody sort of moves to their positions, Mason and Vix moving back towards the some of the equipment that was rigged up for sort of using the pulse to hopefully some of the worst of any of the electromagnetic charges that Bina can't avoid. You have sort of the pulse. Now, Adasprix has been able to create an algorithm that allows for sort of prediction of the movements, like not movements of debris within the storm, not 100%. Because it's unpredictable, it's very unpredictable. So what this algorithm does is essentially it sends a ping out through the storm and does its best to extrapolate paths of debris, but it's not 100%. What she's also managed to do is sort of create a similar program for basically sort of reacting to the wavelengths of the energy that might be striking the ship, and allows you basically with working with Jade to sort of create sort of like a temporary hold, essentially like a temporary ground that like will hold a charge for a moment as it strikes the ship, will allow you, Mason, and Vix to have the to like react and sort of modulate the energy to sort of send it as in a reverse pulse outward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you kind of get yourselves in position, and Jade and Bina, you look at each other, and Jade goes, "Well, here goes nothing."
Here goes everything.
All right. So with that, you fly the solar flyer into the storm.
Grab whoever's next. Like grab like kind of a hand squeeze, like a comfort hand squeeze.
Mason takes a really long pole out of his flask.
All right. Immediately, Bina, you feel the shudder through the entirety of the ship as you are buffeted by just these powerful winds and charges that are pulsing through this dust cloud. Visibility is null here. It is your
Why I got people on sensors.
yeah. You have Ada Sprix and her duplicate, sort of operating various instrumentation, keeping an eye on things for you. So, as you flying in, I'm gonna need, as you see debris, chunks of debris immediately passing the ship as you start swerving through it, sort of juking through all of this, and everywhere you look, you can just see the sparks of electricity that sort of shoot out, snaking along the debris clouds. So, I'm gonna need a roll from you. This is gonna be a piloting check, and the difficulty on this is gonna be 8.
Excellent. Okay. Piloting.
Mm-hmm.
I have an asset from my Orzai crew.
Yeah.
Does my sight help?
Yes. Yes, it will.
I'm going to spend 1 speed. And I have that bonus edge, so it only costs me 1. I'm gonna roll.
And you're not afraid at all.
I'm not afraid at all.
All right. So what did you bring it down to? Difficulty 1?
1.
Okay. You just need a 3 or better.
Come on, Bina.
Oh, on the fucking floor. No, it's gone. Hold on, I'm gonna do 220.
It's been taken. It's the floor has claimed it.
You know what? I can still see it. I can still see it. I got too excited with the roll. Here we go. Try again.
All right.
Here we go. It's a 4.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
4.
So, Caitlin,
4.
describe to me how Bina flies through this.
Oh, she is like skirting, like just like hair's breadth away from this shit. Like this, she has never flown in anything like this before, and she's not scared, but like freaked out in a way of like unfamiliarity. And she's normally very familiar with the things that she's doing, but I think it is a very much. I don't think it's not a particularly like turbulent ride, but it's not smooth either. But I think a lot of things are just like very much just at the last second, like spiraling the ship out of the way of things.
Yeah.
And like.
I was gonna say, at one point, flying in between two pieces of huge pieces of debris the size of capital ships that just like smash into each other. Bina just sort of right in between the two of them as they smash and pulverize, sending out shockwaves through that like further buffet the ship, as well as send out charges of electricity that sort of snake outwards.
It's very much skilled, but she's very much cutting it close.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like very reminiscent of like the first time y'all flew with her out those doors as they closed.
Yeah.
That's probably what it feels like times like 100.
Yeah. Sort of stabilizing your arc, sort of flying, then sort of following the curvature of one of these massive pieces of debris, just sort of following it along. As it does so, I'm gonna have you make maybe not. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have you make a piloting check once again as you're flying over this. You sense alarm from Ada Sprix at the sensors. And you have just enough time to react. So go ahead and give me a roll. This one is a another. This is going to be another speed roll. The difficulty of this one is also going to be 8.
8. Okay. Was everything I did before still will count?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'll do another spend. I'm going 2 edge brings it down, so it's only 1 spend. And then I'll roll difficulty 1.
All right. Difficulty 1.
Not fucking roll all the way onto the floor. Okay. 7. Jesus, that's scary. It's a 7.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. So as you're flying, just sort of skirting the surface of this huge piece of debris, you see just in time. You swerve and just sort of do you swerve to one side and barrel roll off just as you see an arc of electricity just shoot off of the asteroid up just where you would have been caught. Something like that would easily fry the systems and leave you just sort of helplessly floating. You do that. I am at this point going to offer you a GM intrusion.
I take it,
Okay,
obviously.
who you give? Okay, so go ahead and take 1 XP for yourself. Who are you giving the other one to?
I'm gonna give it to Taeyeon because I'm excited Drac is here.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Sounds good. All right, so go ahead and Drac and mark down that you've gained an experience. As this arcs up, you see as it catches, it arcs up and totally just pulverizes another piece of debris and arcs off yet again, and in a sort of like a smaller sort of scattered arc because it just sort of branches once it does that. One of those smaller arcs strikes the shields of the solar flyer. Mason. You see all of the alarm system, or not the alarm system, but all of your displays just flash red with all kinds of warning signs. So
That can't be good.
you see as the charge meter on that Jade rigged up just goes fully, like it basically like the charge capacitors that he rigged up to sort of hold charge for a moment while you regulate it bumps up to 135% charge. So yeah, that's Vix goes, oh shit, I guess that's our cue. So Mason, I'm gonna have you make a roll.
Oh God.
All right.
All right.
This is your choice of intellect or speed roll. The difficulty on this is going to be 6.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Vix is helping you, so you have Vix as an asset.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, the asset's good.
I'm
Let's
so
see.
excited about this. This is so
Ooh,
cool.
this is speed, so I can
This
use
is
my
really sick.
power shift
Yep.
to dexterity. I'm gonna use I haven't used this in a while, so I got 2 in dexterity.
Yeah.
So that brings it down to, let's see, what is this? So that brings it down to a 3 now.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Difficulty 3.
Let's see. Danger. We're already in danger, so assessing danger, my skill doesn't really help here, does it? But I'm gonna ask anyway.
No, I don't think so. Not here.
Because we're already in danger. Okay,
Yeah.
we're already fine. Okay.
Yeah, this is more of like a reaction situation, not so much a like assess and react. This is
Oh. Okay, so I'll spend. I'll spend some speed then.
Okay.
I'll take some out of my speed pool. I have an edge of 2, so I'll just spend 1.
Okay.
It brings it down to a 1 if I'm not mistaken.
The difficulty is now down to it's a difficulty 2 right now. You spend one edge, right? Or like,
Two.
sorry,
I'm
1
gonna-
level of effort. 2 levels of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, then it just bring difficulty 1.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. Effort. Okay. Here I go.
Nerves.
Nerves.
You got this.
14.
Okay. Yeah. So you just quickly it's like for a moment you feel your muscles like just go, like you can feel them go lean, and you can feel the density of your arms just suddenly reduce as your arms just fly across the keys typing away, and you see as you redirect and shunt the charge outwards. From the outside, what this looks like is like the entire surface of the ship's shields are electrified for maybe a total of about 5 seconds. and or maybe probably even just about 3 seconds, and then suddenly all of that just gets arced off. It just gets shunted off, and what this looks like is just like little sort of spikes of static, just sort of striking some of the asteroids and debris nearby, just sort of striking off into them, being shunted off the shields. Mason, you watch as the displays slowly, like the warning sounds and lights just sort of die down, and everything, your displays are green once again.
Okay, we're green.
Nice job.
Vix goes, whew, a little bit more intense than I was expecting. All right. All right. So, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and say, Bina. Right now, as you're ducking and diving through all the debris, you can feel a sudden wave go through the storm, catching the ship. You can feel the ship resisting against you as it catches that wave, and you basically start fully careening towards one of the larger pieces of debris in the field, as the storm is just whipping you like a piece of paper. There is a massive asteroid that you are now being shunted directly towards. Taeyeon, you see it coming.
Oh boy. Okay.
I
Okay. I think Taeyeon is like, he's really in it. He's feeling it. Like, despite everything that happened today, being in this like head, like deep in the action is kind of like throwing him back. So he's kind of enjoying it, and he takes a deep breath again and looks at the asteroids incoming and realizes that he might need help. So I'm gonna use an ability I have. He not even looking down at his wrist computer, just says Operation Time Loop, and on his wristwatch a counter of 10 seconds appears, and his hand kind of electrifies with the energy that he produces, and he reaches just into the air, and up to his elbow just kind of disappears, and he pulls back again and pulls out a Taeyeon from the future, as I use Time Loop, my ability where I can pull out another copy of myself from 10 seconds in the future to help me out with this.
Whoa.
All right. Okay.
That is so cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see as you're this massive piece of debris ahead of you that Awakener. Jeez, I keep doing that. The Solar Flyer is currently being like fully buffeted towards it. Like Bina right now is struggling to get control once again, but you're just being like whipped around in this storm towards this piece of debris. So, what are you attempting here? What are you attempting?
So I don't know if this is gonna count as an asset. If it doesn't, I just wasted a time. I just described something very quick. It doesn't matter. But I'm gonna try and have both of us use the ability Exile to try and shunt this massive thing out of existence.
Okay.
It only lasts for 10 minutes, but I'm pretty sure it'll be long gone from at least this area in 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that'll count as an asset for sure. So here we go. What this is gonna do, this is a very large object, and yeah. So the difficulty on this is gonna be an intellect task, and the difficulty of this is going to be I'm gonna set the difficulty of this one at a 6.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Okay. So the asset of future Taeyeon.
Yep.
Taeyeon from 10 seconds from the future. Oh, I don't have much. I might just spend. Yeah, I think I'm gonna spend.
Is this is this an intellect roll?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I give encouragement? I'm trained in. Wait, no, I don't. I wouldn't be trained in this. Never mind. I was like intellect tasks, but no. Damn.
Yeah, I'm just gonna spend. I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna spend 3 levels of effort
Okay.
1, 2,
All
3.
right.
So that's
Brings that down to a 2, I think. Difficulty
yeah,
2.
and that's
Because it was at a 5
Yeah.
with your asset, and then with 3 levels of effort. Yeah, so that brings that down to difficulty 2.
yeah. So that's total 5 intellect points used. Was it 5? 2, 2. Yeah, 5 intellect points used. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll with that.
All right. Sounds good.
Always
You
some
just
XP
You just need
too.
a 6 or better.
Yeah. So oh boy. 8. I got an 8.
So you all want... actually, go ahead, Drac, and describe to me what this looks like as the ship that you are on is being just sort of whipped through space towards this enormous piece of debris. What is this? Yeah.
It's not even that. It's very colorful, to say the least. Just behind, at first, you just see kind of a weird light glowing from the 2 Taeons. You just realize there's 2 Taeons now from their left eye, and then a very similar light seems to be emitting from behind this massive asteroid, and then behind it, you just start seeing again the northern lights, like the Ouroboros, kind of appear behind it, and it looks like a massive crack, just appearing in space-time, and it. 1 minute the asteroid is there, the second it's just gone, and you just see the crack slowly close behind.
Yeah.
As it was left behind.
It is a matter of milliseconds as this huge piece of debris that you were just about to slam directly into is just not there anymore, and instead the solar flyer is whipped around, and Bina, in that moment, that those few extra seconds that Taeon was able to buy you, you're able to regain control as you finish riding that wave out and sort of use it to your advantage to pull around and back in the direction that you're trying to go. Now unimpeded. So.
I was gonna ask if can I advance mid-flight?
What?
Can I take an advancement?
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
Mid-flight. Ooh.
Mid-flight.
mid-flight, she levels up. No, I'm not full tier, but an advancement. I've
Yeah.
been sitting on a lot of XP that I haven't been using, and I realized I can make this easier for myself. Mid.
Yeah.
Like a very anime moment where you're like, I believe in myself, and all of a sudden you have a new skill.
Yeah. I want to do
Power
that.
up.
Okay.
I'm gonna advance. I'm just letting I'm doing that.
I did that in the first 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah. Which advancement are you taking?
I'm gonna take a +1 edge to speed.
Awesome.
I was planning on doing it anyway, so might as well do it here whilst I get an extra
Yeah,
level
absolutely.
of free effort here.
So,
Nice.
Bina, you kind of recovering from this sort of very near death experience, you just sort of kind of shake it off for a moment, and you just sort of square up your shoulders and redouble your efforts at the controls. You see ahead of you, sort of the dust cloud sort of thins out a little bit, and you're able to see a little bit more than you were able to see before, as it's not quite as thick around you. You see, for just the briefest of moments, you can see all around you as the dust sort of recedes. You see the husks of countless ships. Huge husks, some of which you don't even recognize. They look ancient. But you realize in that moment that what you're flying through isn't just a storm. It's not just a space storm. It's not just whipping debris. It's a graveyard.
Yeah.
And as
Triangle
will
in
not be one of them.
space.
yeah, you can see through all these husks the electricity that is just sort of snaking along, almost as if alive, sort of a creature that is made of light and plasma, just sort of snaking over these enormous carcasses of vessels.
I
And
think Bina's gonna be like, Ada Sprix, is there anything on sensors? Like, what are we looking for? What is my heading?
you can hear both of them simultaneously, Ada and her double, speaking in unison, just saying, I'm not sure what we're looking for, but the point I was able to extrapolate is still ahead of us.
Okay.
It's not exactly precise, but it'll get us within 500 kilometers.
There's an eye of every storm. Just gotta find it. and I'm gonna like she swerves at the end of that sentence or something to get away from something.
As you move in that direction, you start kind of going to like maneuver around these husks, and as you do, you suddenly become aware that the course that you were charting, it looked like just thicker dust storm, but as you get closer, you realize it's not thicker dust storm. It's just a wall of rock, and as one of these massive pieces of asteroid is just ahead of you. I'm gonna need you to make a roll to avoid it just in time. Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, what's my difficulty?
All right, the difficulty on this one is gonna be 8 once again.
Okay.
And yeah, it's
all of my previous applies.
yeah.
Okay. You can get me down 7 without a spend. I'm gonna spend for the last one though.
Okay. All right, and
I
no
will
roll.
I will roll.
You will roll. Okay.
I will.
Ooh.
So you brought it down successfully to a difficulty 0. So
Yeah.
so all you got to do is not roll a 1.
Yeah, just in case, I don't know, if it's any help we can get here.
Yeah.
If I roll like a 20, it'd be great. My hubris.
No, don't. No way.
Did you?
Are you serious? XP. Can you re-roll
I'm
that?
gonna re-roll
Yeah.
it, but like, I tried. I was like, I'm being ridiculous. I'm not.
Oh god.
Wow. That's incredible.
Fucking XP left.
All
Fine.
right.
I'm so mad.
That is awful.
God damn.
Cursed.
It's a 4.
Okay. All right.
It's fine.
So nothing special, but you do
Damn
succeed.
it.
So at the last second, Bina, as you're reaching for it, you pull up fully basically over the top 180, like just sort of skirt, like you pull up just within probably meters of this asteroid, and just pull up and just start going in a full vertical along this asteroid. As you're sort of skirting along it, you're seeing no end to it anytime soon. It is by far the largest piece of debris that you have come across here.
I'm gonna, as she's like pulling, like yanking back all 4 arms in the controls, pulling us back so that we get up. As it keeps going, I think she's gonna be like, "Hey, Sprix, can we get a read on that?"
She says,
Just see what it appears to be.
yeah, it appears to she sends you the readings, and essentially what it looks like, it's just an enormous asteroid. Like, honestly, it's difficult with the way that the storm is sort of messing with sensors and things like that with like longer range. It's difficult to tell the exact dimensions of it, but what her sensor readings are predicting is that this is actually some sort of planetoid.
Okay.
Cool. You're not getting around
Are
that
we
anytime
in,
soon.
like, Atmo?
No,
Is
not.
this-
No, this is more like.
I mean, like, would the storm be? Is it connected to this? Is this like the center?
Oh no, probably not.
Okay, it's just a thing in there. Okay,
Yeah, it's
cool.
just a thing that's in here. You also see basically like there's a beep from your display, and you can see that the algorithm has corrected for this and has sent like another path. This one through the graveyard.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So, yeah, you take the ship and immediately just sort of like continue that vertical climb. You just flip back over and just fly down into the huge wreckage. You can see all around you the exposed superstructure of ancient ships, long since destroyed and just ground up by the debris. As you're flying through it, you can see as other debris is like some of the larger rocks that are being buffeted by the storm, slamming into that superstructure, shearing off pieces of metal and just sending it tumbling out into space. I'm gonna need you to make another check to go. Actually, before I make you do that, I'm gonna say mostly what you're doing right now is just sort of diving and sort of weaving through these ship husks, and then you see probably one of the most nerve-wracking things that you've seen this entire time that you've been in here. you see a ship husk ahead of you that is fully electrified and has become some sort of conductor. And you can see that there are, like, right in your path, there are sparks of electricity just constantly going off of it. You can see as one of the other husks gets a little too close, and it sparks off the electricity jumping from that to the other, and you can see where it just pieces of it shear away. And as you look closely, you can see that what happened is it's not that it cut it, it's that it disintegrated some of the what was holding it together, as the ship piece that got struck just flies apart. You can see that sort of almost like when you burn paper, right? You can see that sort of bright edge where the electricity struck all the pieces, continuing to sort of disintegrate the piece even after having been struck. Jade tenses up next to you. He says, not to backseat fly here, but maybe try not to get hit by that.
She's gonna say, Vix, Mason, be ready. We're gonna try to skirt around it and not get it within range. But I don't know what the range is, so.
Okay, so, you fly forward, and I am going to offer you another GM intrusion.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. All right. Who's getting the other one?
Mason.
Okay. So Mason Freeman, go ahead and mark down that you've got another XP. So as you try to find a way around this, you realize that the route that you've taken through this debris field, there's no way out. There's no way out that's not just going to totally shred the through your shields, through the ship itself. There is one way and one way only, and it is through the superstructure of the electrified husk. There is no other way that isn't going to just totally either throw you fully off course to a point where you are just on your own, flying blind, or isn't going to just utterly tear the ship apart. Jade
She goes, I mean it.
Yeah, Jade sees the information right as you do. He goes, no.
Bina's the best pilot in this galaxy.
All right.
She says we have to, and we fucking dive in, man. We go.
All right,
The only way is through.
Bina.
Hopefully the fact that if she can be like perfectly aligned through it.
Yeah.
Maybe
You-
she won't
as
drop
you're
into
looking
it
at it-
because there are the other edges around the outside of it.
Yeah, as you're looking at it, you can see that in spite of the fact that you don't have a whole lot of time to take this in, but as you're looking at it, there does appear to be something of a pattern to the electrical pulses that are going through this ship.
Uh-huh.
You could probably time it. All right. So, Caitlin, I'm going to have you roll another speed check, another piloting check. The difficulty of this one is going to be 11.
Goodness.
No worries. Okay. So my 7 from before.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna
Yep.
spend 1 speed.
Okay.
And now hear me out.
I like where this is going.
Yep.
I'm timing. I'm watching. I'm timing these strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Task involving sight.
You know what? Yeah.
11!
What difficulty is 11, Lucas? What's that? What's that range?
Oh, it's not even on. It's not even
It's not
on.
even on the chart.
It's not even on the chart.
11.
So in that, the so a difficulty 10. So you know is classified as immortal difficulty. Is that right, or is that a 9?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It's,
difficulty
yeah, I
10
think
is
that's. I think
immortal.
that's
That
right.
might be a level 9.
It might be a
Or it
level
might be
9.
impossible. There's something that's
I don't know.
Oh,
But
goodness.
regardless, in this moment, Bina Oba takes a difficulty 11 task and just tears through it.
She is I think she is like, have you ever seen those like globe, they're kind of, I don't know if they're fidgets, but they're those globes with the like electrode in the middle where
Yeah.
those like So I think that's what she looks like right now as we move through this, because she's watching it and she's matching it, and she's trying to like internalize these lightning strikes or these electric strikes, and so she's got this like looking thing happening across her carapace, and then we fucking barrel right through it.
Yeah. This sort of pulse of like Bina's natural bioluminescence begins to match that pulse of the electrified ship's husk, being battered by the storm, pieces of debris slamming into it, being struck by this super conductive electric discharge that is just striking them, disintegrating whatever it touches. Bina flying through, just effortlessly dodging the strikes of electricity that go out. I am going to say that as you're flying through all this, you see the pulse and time seems to slow in front of you. As you focus, Bina, you focus on this pulse, counting, timing between, sort of you basically, yeah, you slam on sort of like basically on the brakes, catching the ship back, and then just in the last moment, you see your opening as the pulse winds down, and you just accelerate right through it. Reaching down, cutting safeties, basically cutting safeties, like fully just yanking wires out of the the thing, just cutting the safety acceleration protocols on the vessel, and you just immediately, it's like you go zero to 1,000. You just go right through. I'm gonna need everybody else to make speed defense rolls here.
This is
I have a thing. Okay, so part of my time loop is that after I summon my time duplicate, time catches up with me, so I disappear for a turn. Do I just disappear for this and just not have to? Because I appear afterwards. But
Yes,
so I just,
absolutely.
That's cool.
So
like I kind of turn to. So Ada's seen me do this before, so I just turn to Ada like, I'll see you 10 seconds ago, and
she
see.
Yeah, she
you see
turns
a
and
hand-
smiles and just waves.
Yeah, and you see Taeyeon, like you see a hand appear from nowhere, but you recognize it as Taeyeon's hand. Grab Taeyeon and pull him, and he just disappears.
Wow.
Yeah, so Taeyeon disappears, but I need Mason and Peach to make speed defense rolls. The difficulty of these are going to be 5.
Okay.
Or some trained.
All right. Dex. Power shift Dex down to 3.
Oh, I have a dexterity power shift too, so down
Yeah.
to 3 is for me is 2.
And then I'm trained in speed defense tasks.
All right, yeah.
So I'm down to a 2. I'm going to roll.
Okay. So you need a 6 or better. And
Yep.
I'm gonna spend a level of effort.
Okay.
Is there-
I'm just-
yeah, this-
Yeah, so that's a level 2. 6 or better. I'm just gonna roll. That's
Okay.
pretty.
Sounds good.
Well, actually, no. I'm gonna spend 2 levels of effort because I haven't spent any.
All right,
thing,
yeah,
so-
go for it.
8.
8. All right, sounds good.
Just barely with these rolls tonight.
Okay. 12.
Okay, so both of you are able to you have been around Bina you've known Bina long enough to know the look on her face and feel like that pulse of emotion from her, where it's less of like a pulse of emotion, more just complete stillness. Like Bina is a quiet surface of a lake. She is
like the like her antennas are perfectly still. Like they're arched back slightly, but they're just like she's normally kind of moving at all times, and in this jittery like rocking thing, her antennas are just fully still, and you see that and go, oh shit.
Yeah, and you're able to like slam yourselves into like the nearest seats and pull the crash webbing over you, as basically the ship suddenly breaks. The kind of inertial dampeners basically keeping like screaming to try to keep up with it, as the ship just suddenly stops, and then immediately, like just a second or two later, just accelerates faster than the ship was ever designed to accelerate, shooting forward. And in that moment, you watch as like all the interior lights of this vessel just flicker wildly, just plunging you into intermittent darkness. Lit only for a few moments, lit only by the flickering of electricity outside of the ship. As Bina, in one of the most daring and ballsy maneuvers likely ever attempted, flies through the husk of this super electrified ship as electricity just spikes outwards. At one point, Bina just expertly rolling the ship, catching right in between these enormous girders that you're able to just scrape through with a bit of a like light tap that sort of sends the ship sort of a little bit, but you manage to hold control and immediately follow the roll through as a jolt of electricity strikes where one of the sort of wings would have been, following the roll around. I'm imagining this like if this were a film, I could see it'd be like from the front, like the camera from the front as of the nose of the ship as it sort of goes between these beams, continues its roll, and the streak of electricity right along the belly of the ship, continuing the roll, pulling forward and just jetting through this.
Yes. So cool.
Yeah. As you all sort of find yourselves just like trying to like catch up with what happened, the sheer G's causing all of you to just black out for a second, as the G's that are like being forced upon you, the inertial dampers, you can see where they're like, Bina, with a quick glance down, you can see that they're fully offline. They were overtaxed. Fully overtaxed. Like they are not functional at this point anymore. And as you're going out, you can just see the final, as the pulse is starting to rev back up, in sort of the rear display, Bina, you can see as the husk is being electrified right behind you as the pulse starts going out, right on your tail. I'm gonna have you make one more check here.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Ooh.
What am I doing?
All right. We're dropping you back just down a little bit, a little higher than you were before. This is going to be a difficulty 9. As you, this is pure reflex here.
Yeah.
This is just about like pushing the ship to its limits right now,
Yeah.
and being able to just. You can see that essentially what you're doing is you're going through like a tunnel. You're flying through what was once the interior of a capital ship. At the other end, you can see just a slight margin. You will probably, in all likelihood, slam headlong into another like massive chunk of rock that is moving towards you, but you've got a window.
Yep.
Provided you're able to pull the ship up and like. So you right now have to thread a delicate balance between not moving fast enough to stay ahead of the wave of electricity, but not so fast that you slam fully into that and crash into that. You have to be able to pull up.
Reaction, not observation.
Yep.
Correct?
Correct.
Cool. Oh, excellent. Just wanted to double check.
So this is a difficulty 9 task. Speed task.
So, the 7 that I got, so I don't have to walk through all of them again. I'm assuming from my first, we're all gonna count.
Yep, absolutely.
Gonna spend
Mm-hmm.
1, just in case.
Okay.
I don't want to fucking knock myself out. I'm gonna roll.
Okay. So you're at a
This is
difficulty 1 right now, yeah?
Do 1.
And I think this is the second that Taylor like disappears again.
Yeah.
And the crack of energy disappears again, like within. Oh my goodness.
Oh shit!
Everyone's like kind of coming back into
Yeah,
consciousness.
you pop back into place, and you feel Ada Sprix, their arm their hand grabs you and just pulls you down immediately, just pulls you down into a seat.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Hoping I missed the worst of it, but apparently not.
You definitely missed the worst of it. Can't see this die. 4.
What? That was close rolls.
So close.
scraping on by.
So the way I think this looks, Bina, you see an opening.
It might have been an 11, but I picked it up and it was I'm gonna go the 4.
Okay. You see an opening in ahead of you as this piece of debris that is careening towards the ship, about to be electrified and disintegrated. As soon as that pulse taps it, you see as it's spinning through the air. It's not a particularly large piece of debris, but you can see as it spins through space, being whipped around. You just see it at the last second. There is an opening in it. And as you go towards, you just accelerate towards it, no longer worried about stopping in time, because you don't need to stop. You just need to go faster.
That's the Bina Ova motto, baby.
Yeah. You see as it's coming towards you, you push the accelerator. Jade's hands are no longer on the controls at all. He's just white knuckling the seat and just like okay. And Bina, you like just determined down. What I think this looks like is from the outside. The piece of debris collides with the husk right as the husk electrifies once again, and that piece of debris just effectively just pulverizes. It turns into dust with like sparks of electricity going along it. And just as that happens, the solar flyer just shoots out the other side, just soaring out, as the electricity that had consumed that entire hunk of rock, turning it into a debris-shaped dust cloud, detonates with electricity, with more sparks that just go out into the storm, spiraling off, joining other sparks, colliding with other debris and ship husks, as you shoot out, suddenly, very disorientingly, into open space.
Everybody okay? She's fully not paying attention to anyone in the cabin, but like looking around, but
Yeah.
We're all good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Great flying.
that was
thanks.
fun.
Jade just looks over at you, looks ahead, and just shakes his head and just
Told you I could do it.
yeah. You can see that Jade is now like that this has all happened, like the adrenaline shakes start to take him as he's just like and you find yourself fully in just sort of a calm center. Not necessarily the center of the storm. It's much too large for that to be the case, but maybe just sort of a pocket of calm within this bizarre anomaly.
Find the calm.
Um,
Sensors, and she's gonna look over at the Ada Sprix.
yeah. They
Sprixes.
yeah, they both look up at you and
It's
say
Ada Spry.
say
The-
they both look up and they say, "Working on it. Let's see.
She's gonna pull us in just a little further to get away from the edge in case it's fluctuating or isn't a fully stable pocket, but I want to move away from any storm stuff just a little bit to give us some distance.
Okay. Oops. So, you pull through. And for those of you who may have missed it before, tonight's episode is going to be going a little bit longer than usual. We're probably going to go for another half an hour or so. So, you see as Ada and their duplicate start just sort of going over scans. She grimaces a little bit and says, "Oh, hold on, I have to recalibrate this a little bit. That last burst of electricity sort of knocked some of this out of whack. Give me a second." And you see the two of them working together in perfect unison, just sort of recalibrating the sensors. Say, okay, sensors back online. Scanning. And you, Bina, looking out into this, you can see that it's not completely empty, the space in front of you. There are chunks of debris and husks of parts of ship husks. There's metal girders that are just sort of floating throughout here, expelled from the storm into this pocket that are now just sort of drifting eerily here. In some cases ahead of you, you can see where they still are kind of like careening into each other, colliding, sending pieces either bouncing off or they bounce off of each other. In some cases, you can see pieces of ship crushed between two large pieces of rock. Even in this relatively calm place, it's not still. A few moments pass as Ada's looking at this and looks up and says, I'm not seeing anything. Just, wait, hold on. I'm getting something on sensors. And you see as she swipes it over towards your display in the cockpit. You can see where the algorithm has sort of instantaneously charted the movements of this here, as it's much easier to track than what was happening in the midst of the storm. But you can see that what Ada's sensors have picked up appears to be a lone signal, faint within this, but it does appear to be a transponder signal. A transponder signal that wouldn't be active if a ship was destroyed.
How far?
Not too far. It's probably within, I would say, within about 10,000 kilometers. So it's relatively close.
She kind of looks, I think, for the first time, looks away from the view screen at everyone and says, "That's gotta be it, right?" She looks back up at the screen.
See what else it could be.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of other ships out here, in here. Yeah.
Could be a trap, so keep an eye out.
Pretty elaborate trap.
You're pretty elaborate people.
You're not wrong.
All right. So you are able to,
moving.
yeah, you're able to fly the solar flyer through all this. It's not a smooth ride by any stretch, as the ship did not exit unscathed from the storm, but it is, by comparison to what you just went through, it is a very, very easy go of it. As you round the corner around one of these larger rocks, you start scanning ahead of you, just sort of looking visually through the debris field, and you spot a ship, a familiar ship. For the first time since Sulan, you can see Awakener. She appears to be drifting, not in any kind of controlled or directed way. Honestly, you can see that she is sort of slowly rotating on her axis. The transponder signal is still active, which is a good sign, but the ship itself, some part of it seems to be disabled. It could be propulsion. It could be all the power, the ship's entire central power. It's hard to say.
Ada Spriggs,
She looks up and goes, "Yeah."
is there any way that you could send a message to the ship itself and not to anyone on it? Just the ship.
You can feel her confusion. She says, "I suppose I've never done anything like that before, but I could try. What do you What are you looking for? What do you want me to say? What? You know what? Think on it. I'll see if I can maybe backtrace the transponder signal and maybe.
There is an encrypted line on the ship, if that helps. You could burrow through that.
You happen to have the frequency for that?
I think so.
Okay. She takes it and starts sort of. Okay. I think that's gonna help.
For the
Okay.
ship, and it wouldn't. Not to the ship's like systems, but not to anyone on the ship.
I mean, I can send a message as a data packet to the ship's computers, but I mean, it's not like a message. It would just be a data package.
That's fine. Just in case there's someone else on there, something that Alma would see, and
Okay.
no one else could.
What do you want me to say?
Man, I don't know. We're here. We're here for you.
Okay. She starts sort of. You can see as she starts kind of just typing away. She says, "All right, sent."
Bina is fully shaking, like,
And she
like
goes,
her hands are like gripping the back of like the pilot seat and just like rattling. You could probably hear some of her like joints, like
Yeah.
a little bit.
Ada Spriggs is kind of has like sort of a headset on as she's sort of sitting there on the signal. And all of a sudden, like she says sent, and just a couple of seconds pass, and then she's immediately just and she removes the headset, and she says, "Oh, sorry." She's got back a burst of static. She sort of sets it aside and says, "Looks like there might have been some data in that as well. Hold on, give me a second." And she starts decrypting. You can see the decryption algorithm in front of her as it starts sort of playing across the holographic screen. And as it starts decrypting and translating the data packet, you just see over and over again, "I need to find the light. The light. I've lost the light. I need to find the light." Just over and over again, variations on the same phrase. Repeating. Ada looks up and says, I don't know what to make of any of that. I mean, it tracks with our ghost story, but
I think she's looking for me.
Jade looks up and says, "I'm not sure what this means, but I've been scanning the ship. I'm not detecting any life signs aboard."
Let's get in closer then.
He says, most of the ship systems are down as far as I can tell from here, which means we're unlikely to run across the same problem that the scrappers did. I doubt she could fire. All right. Already docking protocols.
Keep ready in case of watching for fire, any weapons fire. We don't have like good shields or anything, but I'm quick on the draw and I can probably try to, maneuver us away from it just in case. Not that I'm expecting it, but some bad shit happened to our shipwrecked friends, so I'm just gonna keep an eye out for it.
Sure. You slowly pull the solar flyer up, leveled with, sort of matching the spin of Awakener.
Mm-hmm.
You are able to pull up, and coordinating with Jade, you're able to establish docking protocols. And while there is no response as far as docking protocols from Awakener, it's easily bypassed, as you extend the docking corridor from the solar flyer, which Jade confirms a few moments later connects. He says, "All right, we can board."
She's out of her seat already.
Yeah. Um,
Our ship.
Ada looks over at you, Taeyeon, and she says, "Go. It's okay. I'll watch from here."
Okay.
She just sort
Let
of
us know if you
grabs.
get any.
She grabs your hand, Taeyeon, and just sort of gives a gentle squeeze, and then
I give her a squeeze back,
Mhm.
and he puts his helmet back on and follows after Bina.
She pings everyone and says, let me know if any other weird packets come through.
Ada acknowledges. All right. So, who's going? All right. So,
Make Bina do that alone.
the three of you, not Taeyeon doesn't need to, but the three of you, suit up in
Yeah.
EVA.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's unclear exactly how long power has been up or has been out, so you have no idea if there's even breathable, if life support systems are functioning,
Mhm.
or rather, you know they're not functioning. You just don't know how long.
Mhm.
You don't know if there's any oxygen or anything left on the other side. You watch the airlock open, or starts. It begins cycling in front of you. How is everybody feeling at this moment? We'll start with Mason. How are you feeling at this moment?
Wary, chilled, anxious, gun drawn. I know that's not a feeling, but
That is.
He
It
asked
can also
you
be an emotion.
about it.
very fair.
Gun can be emotion. All right. Peach.
Peach has that healthy fear. But I mean, we found Awakener, so she's very like eager, very like excited to see what is in here. And those are probably the strongest emotions, like excitement, eagerness, and fear are the main three ones.
Taeyeon.
I think Taeyeon is he's got his usual like temporal flux of emotions. If Bina's trying to feel it, like very weird feeling how he's gonna feel 10 minutes in the future. But the main current and present emotion I think is just like Mason, very wary. I think he's probably stationed behind everyone else, and like if anyone could see him, he's probably like his eyes are like going back and forth between everyone, the crew of the Awakener, just like kind of lingering on them a bit, and he's got his gun definitely clutched in his hand, just ready as well.
All right. Bina.
Hope.
At this moment, you can see as the airlock finishes cycling, and the airlock door opens. You step through the docking corridor, walking across it, and the short span, maybe like probably about 10 meter span between where the docking corridor is, it feels like that short walk takes years. Each of you sort of in your own sort of contemplative moment, stepping across, cycling the airlock on the other side. The Awakener's airlock door does not offer any kind of resistance to you as the airlock cycles, and you step inside for the first time in months. The ship that had been your home, that had become not only your home, but part of the family almost. You step inside and cycle the airlock door once again, as it closes behind you. plunging you into darkness, as there are no lights on of any kind inside Awakener.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, as Bina sort of illuminates the space, just sort of glowing from within. The glow coming only through the faceplate of the suit, as it's the only
I
exposure.
can make things glow,
That's true, you can.
so I can push it through the suit.
Fair, yeah. You step into the hold of Awakener. Immediately, you can see where there are sort of exposed wires and cables that are just sort of sparking.
Oh, what did they do to you?
You look around. The place is kind of a wreck. There's crates and cargo boxes that are just scattered. You are seeing that the hovercraft is still there. It is still secured in the hold. It is one of the only things in the hold that has not been just sort of scattered around, which is good because that would be a tough one to move. But everything else appears to just be fully scattered. Looking around, you can see the doors to the hold. Many of them are sealed. An unusual sight on Awakener, as when you were all residing on it, the doors were between sections of the ship were always open. But you look around.
I can bypass that.
You start looking around the hold, trying to see any signs of anybody, and you see no one, alive or dead. What are you doing?
Moving forward. Unless anyone has anything they want to do in here.
Probably just move throughout the vessel and sweep it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way out right now that is the only door that is unsealed at the moment, that is open, is the one that leads kind of out of the hold towards the engine room.
I might be going there.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd be accompanying Bina as well then.
Okay. As you step out there, you can see that the hallway that sort of the corridor that encircles the hold also appears to be mostly open. So basically, what you're looking at is sort of a curving hallway that like a four-way intersection of the corridor that sort of curves around to either side around the hold that you just left, and continues straight into the engine room. As you begin moving towards the engine room, Bina, you feel something. It doesn't feel like... You know what it feels like? It doesn't feel like emotions as you know them. It feels like when you feel Patch emoting. It feels alien. Something that you recognize as being emotion, but you don't fully understand.
Can't translate.
Yeah. And you feel it very suddenly. And almost as if anticipating it, you turn, and where you start looking, just right, kind of towards the right hand corridor, you can see maybe about, possibly only about, maybe probably 10 feet away down that 10 or 15 feet down that corridor, you can see that there is someone standing.
I immediately have my gun up, like pointed.
Yeah.
I'm moving.
Yeah.
Not running or anything, but like I'm
Yeah.
with determination heading that way.
You as you move,
It's either Alma or they'll have it's someone who has answers.
you start moving that way, and as you do, you watch as the form just sort of seems to flicker in place and then just vanish.
Is this heading towards the engine room?
No.
Or would I have to double back?
You'd have to double back to go to the engine room.
I'd immediately turn around and double back.
Okay.
I'm headed to the engine room.
You turn around and are face to face very suddenly with what looks like it's Alma, but it's not. It's her, but you see that she's looking through you. You can see that same sort of dark curly hair, sort of shoulder length dark curly hair, that kind of cascades down around her face, but she's looking through you. She's not looking at you in a way that Alma has never done.
My heart kind of, I think Bina's heart like catches in her throat for a second, and it like stops her, and then she takes a breath and she walks through Alma and keeps going.
Yeah. Those of you who are watching this, watch Bina walk through the projection, and watches the projection's integrity sort of flickers for a moment, and then reconstitutes with the not Alma facing Bina's back.
She stayed with the ship.
And you can see as you, Bina, continue moving towards the engine room. Those of you watching see as it just sort of flickers and goes out.
I'm still glowing a little bit. I am
Yeah.
being a light.
I dreamcraft a flashlight just to help out.
Yeah.
I'm like stuck to Bina right now. Like,
Understandable.
yeah.
Um,
He's been
You're the
emotional
bodyguard.
before, and he's very worried for Bina being emotional, maybe making the wrong choices and steps here.
You move towards the engine room and you step into it. Just as much of a mess here, where you can see some of Bina's
She
tools.
cringes at it a little bit.
Yeah, some of Bina's tools that were still in here, and spare parts that are just scattered across the floor.
She picks up a couple of her tools that she recognizes as her own, and she adds them to her belt as she's like looking around. And as she passes one of the engine blocks, like two right arms, she's gonna just kind of like drag them along them as she's looking around.
You look towards the far end of the engine room, and you can see yet another projection standing there, just sort of staring, just sort of flickering in place. And as you are there, you just see as the eyes, which are sort of cold, almost sort of this glassy gray, were looking past you, just sort of turn and look directly at you, Bina. She's looking at you, but it doesn't feel like she's looking at you.
Yeah.
And you see as she looks, says, "The light. I must find the light." And then you hear another voice immediately from the other direction, and you turn to look and you see another projection there. "I've lost the light." And another one say, "I must find the light."
Bina's just like, she's like, "I'm here. Just give me a second." And she's gonna go towards those hatches that led down to that secret room where I first found Sedona, or chased Sedona down.
Yeah. So you open the panel. All right.
The hatch down
Yep.
to the whatever those maintenance tubes are.
Yeah. Are you crawling in? Is that what you're doing? Okay. So you all watch Bina just open this hatch and just crawl in.
Tailman's short enough. He's small enough. He joins in.
We've gotten patched through these before.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Patch had
Yeah,
a rough
true,
go of
yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
they've gotten through.
God, I'm so tall.
Peach and Mason sort of left behind. Y'all kind of look at each other.
I'm gonna stay up here and keep watch, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know if I could fit down there very nicely.
Patch is taller than you. I think he's got like a foot on you.
Okay.
Sorry, they've got like a foot on you.
Mason, are you good here alone?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go in too.
Okay.
I can't. I gotta know.
Yeah. As Peach disappears into the hatch, following the others, Mason, you sort of look around the room, looking at the 3 projections of Alma, and you watch as all of them, sort of staring at the hatch, and then just sort of, sort of flickering in place, just like the holograms themselves are having a difficult time maintaining integrity.
Hold on, Alma.
You say that, and one of them, the one specifically that you're looking at, just sort of vanishes. And then the other 2 just. Cutting down to Bina, as you're crawling through these access hatchways, or crawling through all of this, you kind of barely registering any of it until
I
you
know the way.
Yeah, you reach that space within the depths of Awakener, the place where you had once where you had first discovered Alma's body, her physical body. You remember in that moment how it felt to discover that this person that you'd been interacting, as if she was, believing her to be a hologram, a construct of an advanced AI, realizing back then that she was a person, a human that had been connected to the ship somehow. You kind of blink away those memories and push into this chamber. As you round kind of this large sort of cylindrical interior wall of this place, you kind of, not sure what you're expecting to find, not sure there is going to be anything to find. You hesitate right as you're about to go in. This next moment, the next few steps through, they have the potential to change everything or to change nothing. You take a step, and as you look around, you can see you're not really sure what you're looking at. At first, it seems like you might be seeing another hologram, just sort of Alma, just sort of flickering in place, where once there was the stasis chamber that now is there, but mostly non-functional. The door of it having long ago been pried fully off of it. In the midst of that cylindrical construct, you can see this what appears to be a hologram sort of flickering in its integrity, but this one's different than the others because it does not appear to be lifelike. It doesn't appear to be... Her eyes are closed. As you're standing there taking it in, trying to understand what you're seeing, you hear behind you in the chamber, you hear, "The light I need to find. The light I need to find." And you turn around and you see one of the holograms behind you, and you see another one manifesting, and another, and another, and another, until you're standing in that chamber, surrounded by these things that aren't Alma.
I want to walk up to the one in the center of the room with her eyes closed. And I'm going to glow fully through the suit instead of just hands. And I'm going to try to take her hand and see what happens.
Okay. You reach out, and you can... At first, your hand closes around something that feels solid, but then goes through it, as she just sort of flickers in place. Taeyeon and Peach, you have caught up at this point. You sort of are walking through these holograms to reach Bina, seeing what she is seeing. Bina, you can hear, you can feel that it's stronger here, but not easier to decipher.
What else is in this room? Is there anything new? Where is it strongest? Like, if I'm feeling this feeling.
It's
like-
strongest where the stasis chamber is. There does not appear to be anything new here.
Okay, so I go to the stasis chamber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do I see?
It's exactly the way it was left. The way that you'd left it.
But I'm feeling something from it.
Well, yeah.
Can I do like a full investigation of this room? Like, I want to go through everything. I want to check every panel, like walking through all of these Almas that have appeared. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to see everything. I want to look through everything.
Mm-hmm. Your sight makes any kind of roll unnecessary here, so you just sort of look through, intensely scanning this room top to bottom.
I'm familiar with it already.
Mm-hmm.
I know what to look for.
Yeah. There's nothing new, nothing different. Some signs of damage maybe, but no more or less than anywhere else in the ship.
She's, I think, looking up at the Alma with the eyes closed. And is she in the stasis
Mhm.
chamber? This hologram.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think she's standing there looking up at her and is like, "Where are you?" And is just
You feel her? I think at this point, Taylor's like standing behind Bina. Gun's still out, but
Yeah.
like not aiming anymore. Just like at his side.
a little bit, but it doesn't feel like her.
She's always been connected to the ship.
Maybe we need to fix the ship.
If it's damaged, maybe her signal's too weak.
I mean, maybe we can. I mean, I still don't really understand how we do what we do. Don't really understand how Alma does what she does, but Ada's great with computers, and I feel like maybe she can help.
Maybe. And then Ada Spricks
You get nothing
on
back.
comms. Nothing back. Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
He's gonna try and contact Ada.
Mhm.
Taylor's gonna try and get to Ada.
Yeah, you look at it, you get nothing back, and as you're looking at it, you see that you don't even have an outgoing signal.
She's locked us in. We have nothing. We can't talk to them unless we go back up. Bina's gonna start basically stomping through the ship. She's gonna top to bottom.
Mhm.
She's gonna look through it in its entirety.
At times, you find your progress blocked by doors, and then as you go to double back, blocked by doors that weren't closed before, and doubling back, finding those doors open once again. It's frustrating progress. It takes
Haunted ship.
it takes a long time.
She could probably at some point start bypassing doors. Like,
Yeah.
she's gonna probably start getting frustrated at some point and just, I will go where I want to go.
Mhm.
Excuse you.
Yeah, you continue like this through the ship. There are a couple of places, as you finally manage to get back to, actually passing the galley is probably one of the places where you get to where you see another bizarre hologram, not quite hologram, that's just sort of there sitting in a chair, very not unlike Peach, how you saw her when you looked when she
Her
was
back
being
to me?
taken. Huh?
Is her back to me or is she looking at me?
Yeah. Back to the door.
Okay.
Peach, you recall as you're looking at this, it's exactly the position that she was in, sort of slumped in one of the chairs in the galley that you saw her when you did your distance viewing when the ship was first taken.
I go sit across from her.
Mm-hmm. Eyes closed, just sort of flickering.
Can I get any read?
There is.
No,
It's-
wait.
Hmm?
Can I try mind reading?
Yeah. Sure. So you reach out.
I'm gonna put my hands on hers
Mm-hmm.
on the table and just kind of like, where are you? And I'm gonna try to read the mind, someone's mind, a
Yeah.
mind anywhere.
As you're listening for any sign, you start hearing now, not like in your mind, you start hearing light, the light, the light, the light. And then as you say, where are you? You say, the light, here, the light, the light, the light. And you just,
Anything?
The same.
I will say this. As you do that, you've been, even from this one, you felt that same strange read as well.
Mhm.
But as you open up your mind, you find you're able to understand it somewhat.
Okay.
And what you feel, you know what? I'm going to have you make an intellect defense roll.
Okay.
The difficulty is going to be 4.
Okay. It's actually gonna be 5.
That's
because
right.
I have an inability in intellect
Mhm.
defense.
Yep.
So, tasks, sensing, emotions, dispositions.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so social interactions.
No.
And I have a free level of effort.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna roll.
Okay, 6 or better is what you need.
No, just kidding. 2. It's on its side.
Okay.
I have a clear die. 2.
All right. So
It's
you
fine.
you are immediately you are shocked and taken aback by what you feel. And go ahead and just take 4 points of intellect damage.
Cool.
As you feel a pure and unreasoning terror, just panic, just full-on panic. And the thing about it is, you've never needed to know that you could do this because it's never been relevant before.
Mhm.
But you realize that you can tell how old that emotion is. And that panic has been going on for months.
She's gonna start outputting. She's gonna do her aura that is just, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, and I'm gonna try to catch anything, anywhere, anyone, any part of her.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking throwing the line out, trying to just snag onto anything.
Bina, you just reach out to anything, anyone, whatever, realizing at a certain point that
She's gonna keep moving.
Yeah.
By the, like,
realizing at a certain point that you need more. And as you open yourself up fully, all defenses down, completely open, you take a step out of the galley and suddenly you're standing, you're not sure where. All around you is dark. and as you begin to sort of look around, you can hear that there's something nearby, a sound, something
follow.
alive.
I follow it.
You move, sort of feeling around in the darkness. Even your own sort of luminescence doing
Doesn't
nothing.
help.
You sort of reaching out, sort of feeling your way. And as you move, you realize your hand touches something. It feels like cloth. And it sort of springs a little bit, and you realize that what your hand is touching, it feels like a bed, a mattress, or something. Sort of feeling your way along it. It is there are no blankets on it or anything. It's just sheets, and so you feel around. There is nothing there, nothing on it. But the moment you realize that there's a bed in the room, suddenly it starts. Pieces of the bed resolves in front of you, and you can almost see it as if you're looking at it in sort of low light. And you start seeing more of the room. It's a room. There's a bedside table. The carpet in the room is soft. Looking around, you realize, looking down at yourself, that you're not actually wearing your EVA suit anymore. You look around the room, and as you start being able to see it, it's still dark, but you can see that the room is starting to be somewhat illuminated from a door, the doorway to the room that's ajar, light from the hallway outside spilling in. And you can still hear that sound somewhere in the room with you. And as you turn, there's someone sitting in the corner, knees pulled up to their chest, arms around them, head down. And you realize that the sound that you've been hearing is the sound of unsteady breathing.
Do I recognize this room at all as it's coming into focus?
No.
I move towards the figure.
You move forward, and you can see, as you get closer, you can see dark curly hair. As the head is down on the knees. And you can hear the sounds of sort of whimpering.
I sit down in front of her. Alma.
You hear her head slowly comes up and looks at you, and she sees you, and she says, "Hello.
Hi.
I don't know where I am. I feel like I should know where I am, but I don't know where I am."
I reach out to her and try to hug her. Can I?
She kind of draws away as you move closer to her.
Then I back off.
She says, she looks around and says, who are you? Can you help me get out? Can you help me find...
Yeah, just
She
nods.
says, I'm looking
And-
for something. I
We'll find
can't
it.
think. It's so loud.
Bina's gonna stand up and hold two of her arms out and say, "We'll find it." She's gonna like hold her hands out to help her out. Let's find it. Whatever it is, we'll find it.
She looks up at you, and just sort of looks around the room, and then just slowly reaches a hand up and grabs yours. And as soon as she connects with your hand, you can feel her grip tightens on your hand in a death grip. Like she is clutching onto you as if you are the only thing that can keep her, like as if she is someone who is drowning and she is clutching on to something to save herself.
I won't let go. I won't let go. Not again. Come on. And I'm gonna pull her up.
She stands.
I'll hold on to her hand with two left arms and grab onto her.
As you look at her, you realize, as you kind of move her towards the other side of the room where the light is from the hallway is sort of illuminating more of it, you realize that you're seeing... You saw the dark curly hair, and in the dark you saw the familiar features, but now that you're looking at her, you realize that you're looking at a very, very young Alma. Maybe 12, 13. And she is clutching onto your hand.
I've got her with both on that side.
And yeah,
Should we find it?
she nods.
Okay. We're gonna step through the doorway.
Okay. Yeah. You step out into the hallway, illuminated. You see that you're looking at not the hallway that you saw from inside the room, but instead another one that you don't recognize. This one much more sterile. This looks like some sort of advanced facility. And as you step out into it, she looks around and sort of like clutches onto your arm and moves closer to you and looks around. And she says, No, I don't like it here.
Okay. I don't either. Let's keep going. And I want to find another door.
Okay. Yeah. You move along the wall, just sort of feeling your way, even though now you can see clearly. Eventually you find a doorway that seems to lead just off the corridor that you're in. As you step inside, you can see where what you've stepped into appears to be very clearly some kind of laboratory. You can see the scientific equipment, very similar in a lot of cases, stuff that you recognize that you have in the science facilities back at the Resistance base, but don't really know the purpose of yourself. You can see in the center of the room sort of a large, sort of like a cube-shaped kind of glass cage. There is a door in it. And inside the room is entirely empty, except for inside you can see Alma. This is the Alma that you recognize, just fully suspended in the middle of it.
She's still holding my hand as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she pulls into you and says, I want to leave. Let's go.
Do you know what you're looking for?
No, it's... I can't think. I'm just...
Well, my name is Bina Oba. And one day, we're gonna be really good friends. But we need to find you first. I think we have to go that way. And I kind of motion at the whatever we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She looks at you, and you can see just the abject terror in her face. But as she looks at you, she just nods, and allows you to lead her.
I won't let go. And we go in.
Okay. You walk to the case, to the cage, and you look up at this. There's a door. It does not appear to be locked.
I want to open it.
Yeah, You do so, and as you do, you reach for it, and suddenly you're no longer. As your hand closes around the handle, the young Alma is not there anymore, and you are no longer holding the door handle. As you are inside the case, you can see that instead, where you've reached for the handle, your hand has closed around the outstretched hand of Alma, who is suspended in midair in the middle of this chamber.
She up above me?
Mm-hmm.
I want to pull her down.
As you tug, you can see that her head, which has been fully just sort of up, staring at nothing, just suddenly like turns down, looks down at you. Her eyes are completely black. You can see that there is sort of like traces of what looks like code almost, that just sort of flickers across the irises from time to time, or from across the eyes from time to time. Code and sort of circuit pattern. She looks down at you.
I think Bina's 2 lower arms are gonna pull her down, and her 2 upper arms are gonna hold her by the cheeks, by the face, and just try to get her attention. Anything, just Alma, are you in there? Come on, man. She's just gonna give her a gentle, a gentle pat.
You see as she is just looking at you, eyes blank, expressionless, and then
Do I feel anything?
but as you're there, you just hear she opens her mouth and she says, I found you.
I want to glow.
Okay. Yeah. Taeyeon and Peach and Mason, you watched for as Bina stepped outside of the galley, took a step outside of the galley, as you've been kind of following her around the ship. She steps outside of the galley and into the hallway and stops. It's maybe a second, 2 seconds that she just stopped dead in the middle of the hallway. There's just a couple moments. And then you see as Bina looks up, holds out a hand into nothing, grabs, closes her hand around nothing, and then you watch as she begins to glow brightly, almost like she did on the planet days ago. And you see as she pulls her arm down, and as she does, you can see sort of that flickering of that you've seen whenever one of the holographic constructs has appeared or disappeared. You see that flickering. The Alma in the chair just sort of flickers and goes out. You can see as Bina pulls, you can see an arm beginning to sort of manifest there. Slowly watching as a person seemingly constructed in front of you, as Bina, glowing, pulls Alma out of nothing. And as Bina is glowing, you can see that Alma is there, touches down onto the deck plates. Her eyes still very much the way that Bina saw them as you're looking at them, completely black, flickers of code and circuit pattern across them. And you watch as soon as she is fully there, both of them begin to glow brightly, to the point where you can't even really look at them. And then, in a moment, which seems to be frozen in eternity, it's all over. And Bina, you are standing there, and you watch as Alma's eyes just clear. She blinks once, a second time, and you see as her now those light brown eyes that just sort of focus on you. As she says, I found, and she just collapses into you.
I'm trying to catch her.
Yeah, you do so. As you sort of sit there.
Yeah, just on the ground. I couldn't probably support her very long, but at least stop her from hitting the ground. Just gonna hold.
All right. So, we're gonna sort of push through this next bit as over the course of the next several hours, you're able to take Alma and sort of take her to what's left of the med bay, as everything's sort of been scattered around. Sort of settle her in, kind of strap her into the thing so that she doesn't fall out of it. You
Finally, my medical training coming in handy.
Yeah. Bina, you're able to basically get Awakener back sort of into a moderately functional condition.
Yeah. Get some shit online.
Yeah. And it's several hours that you spend just sort of rushing around the ship, just trying to get anything to come back online. Main power. The interesting thing is that it appears that damage is mostly superficial. In fact, you're finding as you're moving around the ship that the whole place is much more open to you now. You're not finding any kind of blockages, no doors opening and closing and sealing on their own. All of Awakener seems to be, you don't know how to explain it, but it feels relaxed. And before long, you're able to bring main power back on.
Rerouting as much of it as she
Yeah.
can to medbay.
Yeah. As you hear that sort of like power coming back on, like internal lights start turn on throughout the entirety of the ship. Those of you in other parts of Awakener see as the lights come on, the hum of the ship comes on around you. Bina, you stand there looking at the engine basically as it starts turning. Jade steps in behind you, and he says, "Hey, she's awake."
Any tools she was holding are on the floor, and she runs.
Yeah. You find yourself back in medbay where Peach and Mason and Taeon are already gathered there. Alma, her eyes flicker over to you, and you can see that she kind of sees you and she sort of smiles weakly.
We have to stop meeting like this. I'm gonna go and just the biggest hug.
She goes, "Oh, you took the words out of my mouth." She says,
And then she's gonna scramble back and like face again, like, "Are you okay?" Like holding her, like, "What?"
She says, "I think so. I don't. Just so tired."
Bina's like, I think, just fully deflates and just forehead to forehead and is like eyes closed and is like, "You scared the shit out of me." And is gonna we'll pull back and like stop grabbing her because she clearly needs recovery,
Yeah.
but we'll take a step back but hold on to her hand.
She says, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
And you can see as her eyes suddenly go wide, and she goes, "Whew, sorry. I just. Did you do
Bina
something?
squeezed her so hard when she did that.
Did you do something to the ship?
Are we trying to wake her up? Why?
It worked.
Good morning.
And she says, and her eyes, you watch as they once again completely cloud over black. You can see that same sort of pattern that you saw before, but this time she's emoting. You can see as she frowns, almost like, and you can feel confusion from her.
I'm squeezing her hand
Yeah.
so hard.
She goes, wow, I've never... Oh no. And then you feel just sort of this rumbling under you as the ship just sort of shakes. And then you hear alarms throughout the ship just sort of going. And just as soon as it starts, you don't even get a chance to react, and then it stops. And Alma's eyes clear again, and she just says, "Whoa."
Where'd you go?
She shakes her head and says, "Where did we go?" At that exact moment, you hear sort of crackling over the comms, and you hear Ada Sprix go, I don't know what happened, but the storm's not here. Well, more accurately, we're not there anymore."
I flip to a terminal. I have one arm stretched out because I'm not letting go of this. I'm not letting go of her. And I'm reaching over to a wall conduit. I want to pull up a quadrant map.
Yeah. Oh, you are nowhere close to where you were before.
Where
Not even
are we?
close to the storm. You are.
Are we in
on-
the same sector?
No,
Where are we?
What?
you are.
Where are we?
You're not that far away, but you are.
Okay.
You are kind of in basically like the next sector over, roughly a day and a half or so from the conduit.
Oh my god.
And Alma just says, she just.
Did you do that?
Yeah. She says, I don't think that's gonna happen again anytime soon, but it had to go somewhere. And she just sort of leans back and says, I think I just need to sleep.
I think you do too.
And you can feel her, Venus, just sort of slip into unconsciousness.
Catch up when she's stronger.
And Bina starts sobbing. As soon as she's unconscious, Bina starts crying, kneels down like onto the floor and just cries.
So, reunited once again with your ship, with your friend, middle of nowhere in space. The crew of Awakener once again. You gather around Alma and a sobbing Bina. And share in a moment that was a long time in the making.
No matter what, man.
And that's where we're gonna stop.
My face hurts
Oh,
Wow.
from reacting.
All right, so we went a little bit more longer than I said we were going to, but
yeah, we did.
Ooh.
Oh.
Man.
Thanks for hanging
man.
out, everybody.
Oh man. Oh man.
Oh.
Wow.
We got Awakener.
I
Wow.
oh. Ah!
Oh goodness.
That's how I feel.
Ooh.
Okay.
all right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out. No, it was a bit of a long one, but I think it was necessary. Wanted
It
to,
needed to be.
yeah.
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 perfect.
So yeah, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you. We'll see you on Friday for Ramblemancy, but otherwise, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us in the new year.
Right.
Good night and good zone, everybody.
Night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a good holiday.